All right, guys, welcome to Cleveland Moto Podcast, episode number 496. Light 'em up, boys! Oh, delicious.
Lots of popping.
By the skin of our teeth, I'm going to tell you. For the folks playing the game at home, you have no idea how close we just cut that. It was tight. It was real tight. And to my immediate left, we have...
Dan Kromke.
And to his immediate left, we have...
Brian Schaffran.
And to his immediate left, we have...
Steve Sleepy.
And to his left...
Johnny Mac.
And to his left...
Speedy Pete.
And at the end of the table, we have...
Chris Smith.
And behind the bar...
Chris Smith's shirt. Oh, wait. Tom Pennington.
Chris Smith's shirt is vibrant on video. Absolutely vibrant.
It's subdued.
I do these extra things for you guys.
I think it's just that monitor.
It's a little subdued in person,
on the real
but on
thing
the monitor,
here,
it looks
yeah.
very
It
vibrant.
looks tasty.
Yeah, that looks pretty
As the
good.
kids would say,
I'm not mad about
Sleepy's
that.
teeth are off as old vibrant.
That's also
Thank
true.
you.
Fantastic. Yeah, so we, in case you're wondering why there's no motorcycles in the parking lot tonight, it's because yesterday was Fool's Spring.
It went from 70 degrees to 35,
Yep.
and I think the saying is like it saw a cop.
Dick
watching it?
Goddard.
Yeah,
I
I'm
can
on it.
hear it in the thing.
What's that? Oh,
I can hear it.
I gotcha.
Yeah, Dick Goddard was famous for saying we have winter, we have Fool's Spring, we have second winter, and then we have false spring, and then we have pre-spring followed by spring.
Yeah.
And Monday, St. Patty's Day, when I was out loading bikes up for my deliveries, it was snowing on me. And I was like, well, there we go. That was
St.
it.
Patty's in Cleveland.
That's how we do. That is absolutely 100% how it goes in Cleveland. So that's why you don't see any motorcycles in the parking lot today.
St. Patty's Day in Cleveland, you can famously get sunburned or frostbit.
I did.
Or both on the same day, yeah.
Now
Give us a report there, John.
Well, St. Patty's Day, what might be the last downtown St. Patty's Day parade in Cleveland, was wonderful. A little bit light on attendance, but ultimately I didn't think the weather was that bad. At least there was a lot of sun. Had some radiation. So, yes, I did get sunburned and frostbitten at the same time.
exactly the way
And
it
how
goes.
was the arcade?
Oh, the arcade's beautiful. I mean, if you ever come to Cleveland, that's always something to check out. It's a beautiful building. It was packed full of people because the bagpipes come through there and play after the parade.
America's
Very
First Mall.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know about that part, or I definitely would have gone downtown. That place is brilliant.
Yeah. And they were serving beers. So, like, there were people who had, like, the various bars and restaurants in there had tables set up outside so you could get your green beer.
Very, very cool.
And
It
what-
looked like everyone had a good time.
What's the deal on maybe the last one in downtown Cleveland?
I think they're supposed to move them to Brook Park. It seems like Cleveland is moving to Brook Park. They want to move the stadium. They want to move the parade. I guess Cleveland doesn't want to be Cleveland anymore.
Can you imagine running the parade down Brook Park Road?
What
What a
Chevy
mess.
Boulevard?
Yeah.
Now,
Next
the
to
one
Pinky's.
thing that would open up, I was going to say, if we did it really far west on Brook Park, we could do Pinky's, we could do the strip clubs, everyone could stay at the world's worst hotel, we could go to Captain Taco. There's a lot of traditionally non-Irish things that could happen.
Cleveland Moto's not far from there.
Cleveland Moto's not far from there. The Ducati dealership is literally right there.
The sad thing was this was the first year for porta potties there. And it was like, for 20 years, I was like, where's the porta potties? You have to like go somewhere and sneak into a hotel to go to the bathroom.
Well,
this year they actually had porta potties.
There ain't no place to pee on St. Patty's Day.
Yeah, well,
Adopting a phraseology there.
Yeah, were there any people laying on the sidewalks when you were going home?
It's not like it used to be.
Nah. Okay.
No.
It's not like the good old days.
Oh,
There were a lot of youngsters when we went over to the arcade, but mostly it was, it was a lot. It wasn't like it was.
that whole sober movement's catching on.
It is catching on. For us, we always cringe when the St. Patty's Day falls on either a Sunday or a Monday. Why do we cringe? That means that Friday's a drinking holiday, and our shop is located at Ground Zero in Cleveland's oldest Irish neighborhood. So the 8 parking spots in front of my shop become prime real estate for any type of a hoolie or the St. Patty's Day. And so Friday, we usually spend our whole day trying to kick cars out that are trying to park there so they can walk down the street and, not be part of the squirrel fuckery that is Rocky River Drive and that whole intersection during St. Patty's. And then usually when we close the shop at 6 o'clock, I will appoint one of our neighbors from the Section 8 high-rise building. I'll say, okay, we're done now. You're in charge of the parking lot. and they can make $1.
I was gonna say $10 a car. Shit, you keep 7.
I don't know what the going rate is. I've always handed them the operation, and that's all. They've always been cool with it. And then Saturday, being that this year Saturday was also a drinking holiday, when I got to the shop at about 8:30 in the morning, we already had keg and eggers. So at 8:30 in the morning, we already had the Wearing of the Green parading westbound. Heading down to the 4 or 5. When we say that is Cleveland's Irish Center. We counted, there are not 1, not 2, but 5 Irish bars within stumbling distance of my shop.
You can throw a stone between them.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, yeah. They can throw rocks at each other. That's kind of how it works.
No, it's pretty cool. And it was funny because out in front of a couple of them, they had Kilty Band out there. They had the Irish dancers out there because that's where they practice upstairs in that one building. That was kind of fun. That was really neat.
The fact that that's actually PJ McIntyre's is just a whole thing in my head. Like, oh. Yeah. Did it burn down?
It's a really strange thing. When we moved into that neighborhood, we knew from day one of us moving in there, wow, this is an extraordinarily Irish neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And it's on those days. And, they do Hooli in June, but now they can't be, that's not enough. So they got to do halfway to Hooli. So they do halfway to Hooli.
Midsummer Mardi Gras.
Well, it's December, and it's cold as balls, and they still do it, and people all still show up and have a great time. But it really didn't hit me. Now, our tactic for that at the shop is that we leave the bikes out until somebody sits on them. So we leave the bikes out until somebody comes by and they, rah, and they jump up on the bike. And that's why the bikes we leave outside we're selective about. We don't leave nice bikes out. And once we see some Yahoo go out and jump on one of the bikes, then away we go. I generally also try to park the green and the orange bikes out front that day, just to keep in the spirit of things. Generally makes it go a lot smoother. Another thing, we wanted to just get right to it because it's fun. You might notice we got Brian Schaffran here today. And Brian's been on our podcast many times before. We love Brian. But we're not just talking about motorcycle co-ops today, which is in and of itself, that's enough. That's enough to keep everybody busy. But we have the gala coming up. Or the gala coming up. And this is something that that we love. I know Dan's been there before.
I'll be there.
We have a great time. We bought the sponsorship package.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
thanks a million for that.
That is no problem.
Huge.
We did the sponsorship package, and I was funny because your sponsorship packages come at different levels. And you have what? You have the pull starter, the Kickstarter, the electric starter.
A great idea.
That's the Greg Castillo level.
That's the Kickstarter, and then like quarter throttle, half throttle, full throttle, max throttle, something
Max
like
throttle,
that.
There you go. Yeah, we're in the affordable throttle.
The push start. we're the push start.
We're in the third owner, gently loved. Probably needs points. Yeah.
Is there a RAN when parked?
It's definitely our level.
That's the $5 level. Yeah.
There should be. Starter fluid level.
Start you bastard. But it actually worked out great. Now, what's a ticket? Now, I just want to make sure the people at home have an understanding of this. What does a single ticket go for of this event? What's the person going to lay out to buy ein ticket?
I think each ticket this year is $150.
You're right. Yeah, I just bought an extra one. And
thanks.
So we get a 4-top, right? So we got a 4-top at our sponsorship level. And I'm going to take this opportunity, and I feel like I'm probably cheating Brian right now. But I'm going to let you know that at our level of sponsorship, you gave us too many tickets. You did. This is a clerical error, clearly on your part. I know you're smart, but check the math. If you give me 4 tickets that are $150 a piece, my membership had better be at least $600.
Right.
Well, it wasn't, Brian. It was a little less than that. It was a little softer than that. You convinced me to go to the higher sponsorship level just because you were nice enough to give us 4 tickets. And it was like, well, there you go. So I'm going to have to spend the rest of the money on raffle tickets. And we're going to talk about that shortly, too. Because that's a big deal.
I already bought one.
So. These raffles this year are insane.
Oh, my God. So first of all, the event's this Saturday?
Yeah. At the Crawford fucking Auto and Aviation Museum.
And if you're not excited about that, you're dead.
Oh my God. It's the coolest place.
It's the coolest place in the world. If you are a gearhead, you will die of overstimulus.
Yeah.
There's so much cool shit to look at. There's so much cool shit to get a picture of yourself in front of.
Yeah.
If you don't like cars, they have the GB Racing airplane there. You know, they've got years of the Thompson Air Races in Cleveland, Ohio, and they've got tributes to that. They've got all kinds of history of racing airplanes in our fair city.
Which has morphed into the Cleveland Air Show.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. It's very cool. And if you ever want to see like a 1800 horsepower P51 Mustang blasting by your house at 67 feet off the tarmac, that's what they did in Cleveland. You know, when they weren't killing themselves on the velodromes and the board tracks and other ways to die in Cleveland. Let's make war surplus airplanes go extra fast and cut the wings down short. What could possibly go wrong? And so you're going to be at Crawford Auto and Aviation.
Yeah.
That's rad.
Yeah.
And you got food.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me more about this.
Pearl Flower is catering, and she has catered the last 2 or 3, and it's fantastic, creative, awesome. It's always really, really, really good.
It is excellent. Yeah. And last year they had it set up in stations, and we just kept looping, and the food kept coming out, and we'd take a loop, and the food kept coming out.
Yeah.
It was really, really cool. Any music this year?
Yeah, actually. So I got to teach MotoGo at Oberlin College.
Oh,
I had college kids working on CB350 engines.
You are stepping up, my friend.
It was unreal. But one of the girls in the class plays stand-up bass, and she's in a band with 3 other stand-up bass. And we were like, we want you to play 4
Quattrobasso?
Yeah.
First
Quabas.
base, third base.
They call the fourth girl.
that bass, love that bass, no trouble.
They call the fourth girl home run. That's it. Oh, that is fantastic.
Yeah, so they'll be playing like at the top of the steps, you know, the steps that go down to like all those unbelievable wacky cars.
The grand staircase.
Yeah. They'll be playing at the top of that, so you can hear it down below, you can hear it up top.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That is fantastic.
Super pumped.
That's a really, really great event. And it's starting at 6:00.
Yeah.
So we're closing the shop an hour early so we can put on our good clothes. We're not going to show up in work clothes like we have done in years past. I told everybody dress up.
Yeah,
so we're going to dress up. We're going to make a big deal out of it because this is something we really like. Now, okay, it's a party. No, it's a gala. Let's be honest. It's a gala. It's fancier than a party. And now, tell the folks a little bit about what this goes to, because this is a big deal.
So MotoGo, and the website is MotoGoCleveland.com. MotoGo brings shop class back to schools, because the schools in Cleveland anyway, Ohio probably, the nation quite a bit, shop class doesn't exist anymore. So rather than focus on what the build is and focus on the final product, a birdhouse, a clock, a table, a chair, whatever it is that everyone used to make in shop class back in the day, we're bringing old CB350s in and luring and tricking the kids in because they see a nasty old motorcycle, and then they aren't being trained to be in the trades. They're not being trained in anything. They're not being told not to go to college. They're not being told to become a mechanic. They are just experiencing the failures of trying to take apart and put together a bike with tools that you're not familiar with, so that in the end, you walk out of there a total badass.
Yeah.
That is the whole first step to realizing your actual humanity, what your thumbs are for.
Yeah.
And so that's what this is for. We're taking it to schools that can't afford it, and it's a nonprofit. We're not racking in the dough. We're charging the bare minimum, and there are a lot of schools that can't pay, and so we raise a lot of money at this gala to try and help cover that cost. And now with the Federal Department of Education being dismantled, they were responsible for giving the states title money, and a lot of poorer schools in Cleveland have access to that title money,
right?
Title IV. And so now with Title IV probably being done away with, we're going to lose a lot of schools that will just say, hey, we simply don't have the money for this. And so we're anticipating that and hoping that this gala will raise even more than usual so we can keep those schools that love us there.
And that's a big deal. The fact that this has been grassroots.
Yeah.
It has, a lot of people, you throw the term around there, it's grassroots. It's grassroots. This is the definition of grassroots.
I never thought of it, but I think you're right.
It's just one of those things that...
Bill, I think you just coined a new term, though. Gas roots.
Gas roots.
I thought that was
that
Johnny
works
Mac.
really well.
It really is. This so people can get an idea. If Sleepy wants to throw this image up, I've got cooking on my screen right now. This is when you go to Skidmark Garage. Brian has set these benches up everywhere, and one of the things you might want to notice is next to the young lady holding the mallet and the ball peen hammer.
She's showing Brian what a mallet is. That's what he's learning here.
What Brian is probably teaching her is the correct way to influence your friend. If you just need to influence them a little, rubber mallet. If you need to influence them a lot, ball peen hammer.
Don't drop this part on your toe.
Right. But you'll see that next to her is the number 8, right? Because they have many, many, many workstations. And you'll notice on each one of the workstations, they're set up to give people an idea when you walk into this facility that these areas where people can work on machines, it's not like you have to go running over to the community toolbox and hope that nobody took the ball peen hammer. Because there are, if you look up behind her, stage right even, you're going to see there's a ball peen hammer and a mallet hanging on the wall, right? And they're all set up. All these workstations are set up so that nobody has to spend time running around the facility looking for tools. And I just am so impressed by that because I'm an organizational fiend. I went from being an organizational nightmare, which is how I grew up, to becoming an organizational fiend, where, that idea of always be knolling. Mm-hmm. Like,
don't put it down, put it away.
Put it away.
There's a reason why I have 3 ratchets on the wall. Right. All right, I lost that one. Where'd the other one go?
Right. And sometimes I catch myself, like when I'm getting done with prepping one bike, I will organize my stuff. I have carts that I use that roll around, and I have a scooter seat that rolls around because that's the level I work at. I don't bring the bikes up on lifts to prep them. I bring myself down to the work. That's just the way it works better. I'm moving fast that way. But it's amazing how comforting it is when the tools are where they're supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
It's just amazing how comforting it is. And it moves you along so much faster. And I'm looking up at this wall and I'm like, I can see the wire brushes in both stainless, plastic, and brass.
Yes.
Right? And I'm just getting a little chubby in my pants right now because I'm like, you don't have to look for those bad boys. They are right there.
I meant to tell you something, Phil.
Yeah.
I stopped at Aldi's on the way here because we needed chips. And Aldi's special this week is, those little the DeWalt bins you have with all the nuts and bolts and screws?
Yep.
They have racks and racks and racks of those in the blue.
Can't miss, baby. Can't miss.
So if you need to organize, Aldi's your place this week.
I don't go out on a Sunday to go shopping unless I come back with some sort of an organizational system. We have at least 400 totes in the shop. My whole world revolves around totes.
Yeah, I can't get in my bathroom right now because
of the totes. Right, that's exactly it. And I love seeing this. And for people to be able to work in this environment, it's going to make it easier to learn in this environment. Yep. So when you're trying to pass information along to somebody, you have their attention. If the stuff is where you promise it's going to be. And it is a promise. It's a promise that it's going to be there because we expect you to perform. We expect you to do certain things. And having it there, looking up and just kind of seeing that thing always makes me really happy to see, to see that environment. So folks get to work in there, but to be able to learn in that environment too is just so rad. That's so cool.
And now we have to figure out how to package this and export it because Redonk actually pointed out that it's a shame everything's leaving. So now the next is you have to move this to Columbus.
Well, hold on, Tom. For those of you who didn't get here for version 1.0, tell them about the trailers.
Are you talking, Tom? Are you talking MotoGo or Skidmark?
Well, I think you ought to package both. So that you can begin exporting these down. Because I've been around a couple of co-ops, but they tend to go poof after about 6 months.
Yeah, I told him not to do this.
Yeah. You told
I
him
was
about
one of the
this?
first person that
We've-
told him.
How many years ago? Like 7 years ago, 8 years ago?
I've been eagerly
10 years
anticipating
ago?
his failure for 10 years.
'Cause Chicago
10 years ago?
Chicago sort of had one, but I think their workspace had a tragic end.
Chicago had 3 at one point.
Yeah.
Every single human being that said the word co-op, I forced them to get in touch with Brian.
Yeah.
And Brian's the only person that I know out of many that has not only held it together but grown it into something better.
And I think this is a package you can push out to other people with the same interests and same, because
He's probably not busy enough with this
that's true.
So I have been on a speaking circuit, and I've gone down and preached this word to people in Richmond. Last week we drove to Burlington, Vermont. Did Chicago, did Knoxville, going down to Suffolk. How do you say it? Suffolk.
Probably like they pronounce Norfolk wrong.
Suffolk.
So, no fuck and Suffolk.
No
Probably.
fucking Suffolk.
Right. That's what I'm thinking.
So we are trying to, I believe that every city in the country will benefit from having something like MotoGo.
Absolutely.
And I would love nothing more than to like be the dude driving my wife and I in that Volkswagen bus and camping all over the country and staying in one place for like a month and setting them up.
Yeah.
And then moving on to the next place for a month and setting them up and then revisiting and making sure everything's good and just kind of get it, save the fucking world.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I'm not even like, I really believe this is what will save the world.
When I used to meet people and they would say things that made me know that they shared my mind, right? I would hand them a copy of the book Shopcraft is Soulcraft. And I would hand that book out. And every single person I ever handed that book to, or every person I said, go get this book right now, every single person who read it thanked me.
It's a great book.
And it's one of those things. A friend of mine is in that book. And when he told me he was being interviewed for the book, and when he told me the concept of the book, I was like, that's the greatest thing ever, man. And I'm so proud that you're in the book because he's the best BMW mechanic I've ever met in my life. And he's in that book. And I was like, this is probably a good book. If they're going to talk to Chad, and if they're going to give Chad some space in that book, Chad McDade, you know I'm talking about you, by the way, in Chicago. But he also now restores Duesenbergs. He restores Rolls Royces. He's no longer just a Vespa mechanic. Whoa. Okay. But when I met him, he's the guy that you went to get your Vespa worked in Chicago. If you didn't want to pay the company rates, Chad would hook you up. But that book, and every time you look at that book, you pull something else out of it. You're like, yeah, that's not here anymore. But there's a path. And you're creating that path. That's a big deal. If I could give you more, I would give you more. I really would, because I absolutely love this. And also, no matter where we go, Brian is there, which is an impossible task. Somehow you are there. AMA Vintage Days, you are there. The IX Center shows, you are there. Somehow you pull that shit off. And I used to think I used to go to a lot of stuff, but no, because every time I go there, you're there.
Yeah.
Plus, you're also going out on these away missions to all these different schools. It's kind of amazing. How many instructors do you have now?
Including myself, we have 6.
Yeah, that's a lot of heavy lifting.
We could, as I think we're going to get into more schools in Cleveland, we will definitely
Need more.
Yeah, because we're going to be stretched pretty thin.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Tell the folks who would be interested in this, what it looks like when your school or your institution gets signed up for this. Because now you're at the collegiate level.
Yeah.
That's a little different than some kids coming out on their study hall.
Yeah.
Right?
We're talking Oberlin College, too. That's not like a small thing. It's
Right.
pretty prestigious.
Yeah, it was total dream come true. And I had the kids read Shop Class of Soulcraft so we could have philosophical discussions about what they were doing after class.
Yeah.
It was the shit. It was the one kid we're discussing afterwards. I was like, what are you guys thinking? How are you feeling about everything? And they're kind of shy at first, but then all of a sudden one of them was like, man, I've got an old Volkswagen sitting in my garage in my house back in California, and I haven't touched it in a year or two. And I can't wait to get home and just tear it apart. I don't know what I've been waiting for. Another kid goes over into this little waiting room and he grabs this huge bucket of Legos and he dumps them out on the table. And all 12 kids were like, build. And I was like, whoa. And then the other dude goes, you know what's, and he was from Colombia. He was like, you know what really strikes me is if I get lucky and I do it right the first time, that's great. And I've learned how to do it right. He goes, but if it takes me 5 times to do it, then when I'm done, I know why the right way is the right way. And I can explain why the right way is the right way.
If it only takes 5 times.
Yeah. But I mean, I didn't know that when I was 19 or 20.
Well, if it takes you 10,000 times to achieve the goal, right? If it takes you 10,000 times to finally achieve the goal, that's 9,999 times you become an expert at those steps.
So to this level, do you know how many tubes I bought to figure out how to change a tube tire?
Well,
I bought 10 tubes for one tire, and I said no, because every time I put a fucking tube in a tire, I would pop it.
12 o'clock, bro.
Yeah, and it took me 10 tubes to learn, because I know, and it wasn't just me going, fuck, I did it again. No, it was, all right, how am I doing? How is this working out? And the first time I got it right, I went, great. The next time I popped it again. And I went, but I kept doing the same tire over and over and over.
Don't bring your levers past 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
Wow.
When you come up to straight up and down, stop there.
No.
When you pull it back like that, it goes ink and it pinches the tube.
And that was a hard lesson to learn, and I had to learn it on my own because the guy I was working for was like, "Fuck it, figure it out."
Wow.
Yeah. So to have you guys around and have somebody to turn to and go, "Hey, how do I do this?"
I can't even imagine what my record number of taking a carburetor apart, cleaning it, and putting it back together, and putting it back on the bike, and how many times I've had it off, put it back on. I mean,
I've said it before.
I don't even go into rebuilding a carburetor. Just if it works great the first time, cool. But I'm already planning if it's not going to run right, it's coming right back off, and I'll go right back through it.
And the hardest lesson to learn is that right there is okay. Maybe I didn't get it.
Yeah.
It's there's absolutely no replacement for repetition.
Yeah.
Absolutely no replacement. Nothing teaches you better than repetition. Your first 5 push-ups are going to look pretty bad. Your last 5 push-ups are going to look pretty bad too. It's the ones in the middle you want to be kind of mediocre at. That's generally repetition. The way that motorcycling, the way that working on your own motorcycle goes is do not expect to watch a YouTube video and instantly know how to do it, because there's a reason guys get paid $120 an hour base to do this. There's a reason shops charge that, because everyone comes in with the absolute best of intentions. They buy a whole stack of parts, and then 4 weeks later, 5 weeks later, we get a phone call. Come and save me. Mm-hmm. Come and rescue me. Where are all the parts I sold you? They're in there somewhere.
They're in there somewhere.
Yeah, they're in there somewhere.
Here's a bag with half of them.
I have the packages left over.
I have everything pulled apart. All you've got to do is put it back together. Right. All that never works.
I've done the disassembly for you. I've gotten you halfway there.
I didn't miraculously learn how to work on motorcycles. I read a lot of manuals. I mean, I have a stack of manuals for Brian that I should have brought them up. But just old manuals that I don't need any more bikes I don't have, but it'd be good to take them down to the shop maybe.
Man, Skidmark library, man.
Yeah,
assembly is the reverse of disassembly.
But that's where I learned. I mean, that was before YouTube. You had to buy the owner's manual and go through that and read up on it. And you really learned a lot just from reading. Like all your questions can be answered in that manual.
Yeah.
Yeah. Years and years ago at one of the trade shows, I ran into the couple that ran the Haynes manuals.
Whoa.
The people that invented it, created it, published it, and I thanked them profusely.
Yeah.
When I got in the booth and I got to meet those folks and realize what they did and realize that they were the creators of that, I thanked them so aggressively because nobody understands how important it is. A shop manual, when you get a shop manual that's a Honda service department manual, it assumes you're a level 3 tech already, man. Mm-hmm. A service manual makes massive, huge assumptions. And I promise you, there's a reason they keep all that information out. It's because they're training technicians. This is the manual they give to technicians. This is not the manual they give to the common folk. Your Climber, your Chiltons, your Haynes manual. Those are meant for the common folk. And they're brilliant because they have lots of pictures. Pictures are great.
And those even assume that you have some prior skill and knowledge.
A little bit.
When I handed those climbers to the girls at Magnificat, and I was like, okay, we're taking the engine out, get to the index, figure out where the steps start. And so they found the page, and it says, step 1, remove the seat. Step 2, remove the tank. It doesn't tell you how to remove the seat or the tank.
No.
And so that first day I was like, oh, this manual sucks. But then after a couple of years, I was like, actually, this is great because it forces them to figure out how to get it done. And I was like, this is actually better. Instead of the step-by-step, here's how to open the seat, here's how to take out the pins.
Yep.
They got to figure it out.
Well, and because the pins go one direction so easily, and the other direction, you lose the little Jesus clips every single time.
Yeah.
Right? So if you learn that as part of your operation, you'll never put them in the wrong way ever again, because the one way they go in like butter, the other way you're constantly fighting for them. You'll get the front one, you won't get the back one. It's just, you have to do it through repetition. The more you do it, the more you'll learn. It is a remarkable thing that lowly CB350 has been such a great tool for teaching people on a universal application that you're like, wow, I've seen elements of that motorcycle in 1,000 different motorcycles. And knowledge on that CB350 is, I can carry that forward to so many other bikes.
So, Brian, let me ask you, have you ever circled back to any of the kids in these classes, you know, the mags gals, you know, 4 or 5 years later to see how they've used the information or whether they got involved with motorcycles at all?
I don't know. Well, there was one girl that even before she graduated from high school, she went and borrowed her dad's minivan and drove down to Cincinnati and bought a CB350 and then laid it on its side in the back of the minivan and drove it home.
It's not me. That's the thing.
Other than that, there is a girl from Magnificat that is now, she went into mechanical engineering, was the only girl in the entire show, and was the only one that understood, because she had to build the benches that she worked on. So she knew, she was one of the ones that was like, wait a minute, why is this called a 2x4?
Nice.
This isn't a 2x4.
It's not a 2x4.
And so when she gets into designing
nominal
all
lumber.
these things at OU in the engineering school, all the boys were making these things and they had 2x4s, and she designed it with the 1.5 by 3.5 and understood the countersinking of the screws because she was the only one in the whole class, and she was the only girl.
And that's everything.
Yeah.
I mean, that, like, knowing the lies of how things are built, and knowing the lies of, like, oh, it's real simple. It's just, you know, we're just going to do 18 on center. Everything's going to be fine. It's going to make perfect sense. And then you realize, wait, on what? What are we centering on? Where are we starting this game? Right?
Well, that's something I learned in high school, though. That was shop class in high school. I took power tech. We learned how to frame a stud wall, wire it, do all that. You know, everything. I had 4 years of welding. I had learned how to rebuild lawnmower engines and bake muffins. I mean, it was awesome.
Wow, man. My shop class was basically all the rejects that were getting ready to go to prison.
Yeah.
Like, they would just sit around and smoke cigarettes. And I was like, all right, this sucks.
Do you know what, though? I had that duality of the experience where we, in my particular high school, if you attended the tech drawing class, right? Tech drawing was an actual class that was run by a guy who knew what he was doing. And you were there and you were actually drawing blueprints. You were getting to that scale where they taught you the attention to detail. They taught you how to build draw your own borders and how to lay your stuff out. That was freshman year. That was absolutely freshman year. And then when you get to your second year, then you could either slide into photography if you wanted to, or you could get into maintenance and you could get into building. And that was where they were learning how to stud out walls. That was when they were learning that. Or you could get into actual automotive repair. And at our school, our automotive repair shop fixed all the teachers' cars. So, yeah, it was really hard for me to catch anything less than a B for 6 people's classes. Okay? Even though I didn't show up, and even though I always had a poorly forged note to skip their class, I somehow can pull a decent grade because that guy's Chevy Cavalier was still running. Right?
No way.
And he didn't want to cut his own throat because he knew I was the young fellow working on it when I should have been sitting in his class learning about, Byzantine Empire or whatnot. And he figured that was a good exchange, giving me the pass so he could get his car work on for free.
That's amazing.
I don't think any teacher at Wycliffe High School ever paid to get their cars worked on prior to 1987.
Yeah, I rebuilt my physics teacher's riding mower. That's kind of how I got through high school.
Great. I mean, but again, you're tailoring to the strong suit of your students and what's keeping them engaged and keeping them coming to class. Because I'd be happy to skip 7 periods a day. I'd go to band and I'd skip everything else. But having auto shop there, and I knew that auto shop was a safe place for me to hang out and get stuff done. When I had all these teachers that were like rallying for me because I kept their cars running, well, that was great. That was a cool thing. And they realized that algebra wasn't that important to a kid that's probably going to turn wrenches for the rest of his life. Now, my high school guidance counselor, Mary Soul, if you're listening, you did say that I was probably only going to ever pump gas for the rest of my life. She said that to me. That's a really powerful thing to say to a junior in high school. You know what?
Terrible.
I've just accepted the fact, Phil, that you're just going to pump gas the rest of your life. I had 3 jobs at that time.
Only one was pumping gas.
None of them were pumping gas. I was putting food on the table for my family. My dad was unemployed. And we had 4 kids in the house at that time. So my newspaper route and me working at Bob's Big Boy waiting tables was paying a lot of our income to our household at that time. And when your guidance counselor tells you that you're probably going to pump gas for the rest of your life, I'd like to tell you right now, after owning my own shop for 25 years, you're right. Every single day I pump gas into motorcycles I bought and I'm selling.
You do pump gas every day. Every bike you sell, you have to pump gas into.
Wow, her insight is
She
stunning.
was 100% on guard.
She was way ahead of herself.
Proving her point.
Yeah, I proved her point for her.
proved
That's
her point.
exactly right. Oh, you don't want to know how much gas I pumped in the Army. Those tanks hold 700 gallons apiece. Yeah. Did a lot of pumping gas there. But if you don't think that can hurt a kid when you tell him that, like, you're not going to college. You're not going anywhere. You're going to pump gas the rest of your life. And that's something that you either have to decide is going to knock you down forever or you are going to get revenge on that statement. That's really what it is.
But isn't something like that sort of designed? I mean, maybe she was trying to challenge you, or do you think
She wasn't that sophisticated.
No.
Really?
I had a similar experience. I think we might have had this discussion before. I had a real disservice from a high school guidance counselor, and I think tell him to kiss my dick right now. He's probably
They're not great. Although I was dating the guidance counselor's daughter, so yeah.
What? Ooh, man. Did you ever get caught at the house? Oh, boy.
I can tell
comment.
you the
Did he
story.
give you any guidance?
There was a yeah.
Mr. Medical Fresh, it would behoove you to get off my daughter.
She was in the bathroom naked when she ran into the bathroom, and Mom came downstairs
She trapped herself.
and trapped herself.
She trapped herself.
And there was a long. Then her mom was in the kitchen waiting for her to come out of the
How
bathroom.
big was the bathroom window?
For like an hour, and then she's like, "Are you okay?" And she had no clothes. All of her clothes were under the couch. And I'm in the living room, like, "Oh my god, this is gonna go so bad."
Oh.
And, good night, Mom. So finally, Mom just like knew something was up, but went upstairs and went to bed. And then, she came out and put her clothes on. I drove home quickly.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. Good thing he wasn't your physics teacher.
Yeah.
You lost your side job.
Yeah.
You're no more lawnmower repair.
No.
That's terrible.
That could have been
But
like
that
a
happens.
scene out of like a teen movie or something. That's great.
That is a good situation for a teen movie.
Yeah, I pulled my short. Luckily I had my short. I still had my shorts over my ankle, and I just like pulled them up, and like my underwear were like half on and everything. I was like, oh shit.
Dude, there's no getting. Yeah, that's a bad situation. That's not cool.
It was a great situation until it was came down.
Did you take vocational ed or anything? Because at my school, the VOED program, when Tom's talking about the stoners, the stoners were the kids who went to Willoughby East Lake Tech. Those were the kids that jumped on a bus at like noonish. So they spent the whole second part of the day at Willoughby Votech or Willoughby East Tech.
That was always the biggest pain in my ass, was the fact that Voc Tech was for people literally going to prison.
No, our Votech, if you went to Willoughby East Lake Vocational Technical Program, you were probably going to do album covers. All these stoners, their folders looked magnificent. Like these guys all had a flair for the artistic. And there were 2 classes that jumped on those buses to go to Votech. it was either, and you know what, strike that, they did go early. They went out for the whole day. But they'd go to their regular high school up, Wycliffe where I went, and then they'd jump on a bus and go out to Willoughby Eastlake Votech. And it was cosmetology students, and it was the arts guys, the guys who were literally amazing artists. And that bus probably had more making out done on it at like 0800, because the kids all, there was always a copious amount of weed smell getting on and off that bus, and you got the artistic guys and the pretty cosmetology girls going out the same place, but they were getting education away from our school.
Oh yeah.
Right. They were being, exported into a VOTEC program. It's great that VOTEC program exists or existed. Now we're starting to see some of that come back. Lakewood's doing quite a bit of work in Lakewood school systems to get that vocational technology back in, those life skills.
Well, we've spent a long time. A good friend of mine is working the petroleum refineries down in Louisiana, and he said the hardest part that they have is finding anybody that knows how to fix 100-year-old petroleum refinery. There are no pipe benders anymore. There are no machinists anymore, because we have, as mentioned, everybody was pipelined into college, and myself included. Yeah. And nobody became a pipe bender or machinist or welder or any of these hands-on blue-collar jobs is what they've been called. And so now you're seeing his job was dependent on a retiring machinist who said he would stay on for another 6 months to train his machinist replacement if he got his job as the lead engineer.
Right.
And they couldn't say no, because they needed his skills for the next guy who's already 40. Who's going to be retiring out in the next 10 years anyway. It's
amazing how valuable those skills are.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Hey, Phil, what did you have to do to get a mechanic up here into Cleveland?
So, Tom, you're laughing about that. But everybody sitting in this room other than you knows that that's not the first time I did that.
I know you've done it before.
I had to go to New York to bring Larry back from New York. I took the bus. We loaded up all of his gear. And we brought him back. I had to go to Detroit, outside of Detroit, to get Chris Palmer, my other mechanic. I had to go pick him up, bring him back, set him up. I had to move Renee here from Pittsburgh.
I remember that now.
I had to go there with a truck and trailer and the bus and load up all her stuff, bring her back. She lived in my basement for a long time, an apartment downstairs. Nick Masick, I had to bring him from Canada. I don't even think we're allowed to do that anymore.
Probably not.
But I had to bring him from Canada. So outside of a couple of 3 guys, every single other person I imported to Cleveland to find the skills that we needed.
And this is how rare it is to find mechanics.
I've gone through more than a small number of people that had an MMI certification that were not effective at the job, because when you're taking somebody's money to train them how to do something, you're going to stick to the syllabus. You're going to hit the SPOs, the student performance objectives. You're going to hit those items. The person may not ever actually be able to do the job that you need them to do.
Right.
They'll be able to do their SPOs that are in the book that they paid for, or that their GI Bill paid for, or whatever. They need to have a couple of years doing it in order to be a viable person at the shop, other than to just tell me, oh, well, I take that part off. I go open box and put new part on. Mission accomplished. Bike is fixed. Call the customer. But that doesn't happen.
Well,
right?
since Sean is listening in, I'm going to tell stories. Speaking of this,
right?
How many days did it take me to get figured out his new heated grips and seat?
Right, many days,
because you had to go through all of the steps.
And Tom knows how to fail.
Straightforward.
Tom knows how to fail when it comes to installing electronic devices
and life,
Bluetooth on a motorcycle.
Oh God!
Because Bluetooth is now a whole new part of things that exist on motorcycles. Cool. And in this particular situation, if you can't get connectivity, you don't get the heated grips you paid for. You don't get the heated seat you paid for.
And it's all because the CAN bus won't talk to the heated grips and won't talk to the heated seat and to the new computer without it being refreshed. And then I had to go back to it had to go back to Italy and have them approve a remap of the dash in order for it to accept the fact that it now had heated elements on board.
Right. All the nuts, bolts, and screws are not going to work.
Literally talking about 3 days of me bouncing off Piaggio USA before they finally went, oh, wait a minute, we know what's wrong. And I'm like, great, cool, tell me.
Well,
because I'd like to know.
The answer existed offshore.
Exactly.
But the answer existed. It wasn't the kind of thing, too, that we could also remap it over the air.
No, they had to approve the remap in Italy.
Yeah, it's really tough.
But that's the whole thing, is that you've got to go through that. Because my old asshole boss used to say, anybody with an MMI cert, he can't employ them because they don't learn anything.
Well, I had an MMI cert just to make it even.
Yeah.
I had an MMI cert. That's how I started. I started this adventure. I worked on cars and motorcycles when I was a young person. When I came out of the military and I had college fund money to spend, I found MMI was a very, very happy recipient of my college fund money.
Absolutely.
And I was willing to go down there and live there and spend time in a shitty hotel room and get my training and then come back up with a certificate. But I also had a life experience of building cars that go back to 1937.
Which is the difference.
And there were people in my class at MMI that were equally as experienced, whether they were 18 years old and grown up on a farm. Farm people are remarkable.
Yeah.
Farm people, there is no...
We had the 4-H program, so half of our kids would just leave and go out to a farm for half the day.
Yeah.
Farm implements will teach you things fast.
And this is why Schaffran, coming back to this is so great, because you're teaching kids that have probably never touched a wrench before in their lives.
Correct.
To start with something and go, I don't think I can fix that, to, oh, well, this is what's wrong with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a pretty fantastic transformation. And to go back to the original question,
Right.
what would I think you said, what would a school expect to receive if they got the program?
If they got the program. Yeah. Yeah.
They would expect to receive, in the best world, I think, is we bring 3 or 4 motorcycles to that school, set them up in a permanent space, permanent for that year, for that semester or whatever. Set them up with lifts, with a bench, with pegboards, with the tools hanging. Yeah. The kids build all of it. We bring in the lumber and the fasteners, and they learn how to use all that stuff, and they use the speed square, the whole deal. Yep. They build that stuff, and then they roll the motorcycles up on the lifts, and they take them apart, label everything, clean it all up, put it back together, and then they roll it outside and get the kick started.
Damn. And you can run the first one, and then you set up your subordinates after it.
So after that, the motorcycles stay there. And the next semester, kids come in and they do the exact same thing. They take the whole thing apart and put it together.
Perfect.
No one gets to the awesome experience of building the lifts and the benches, except for the very first
group.
But those motorcycles, in some schools, it's the same 3 or 4 bikes that have been there for 5 years, and they're just taken apart and rebuilt. And once they get to the point where things are just coming off too easy, we take it out and then we put another bike in that has been in the Lake Erie for a couple months, and then all the struggles are born again.
Really get to exercise that PB Blaster contract.
I used super glue one time as Loctite.
Oh yeah.
I'll never do that again. It works fantastic.
Does it really?
One time.
Super glue is a one-time Loctite.
Yeah. You have to torch
Loctite.
things after you've done that.
I've now discovered a new super glue, or a new Loctite in my world. It's orange. I've now become a fan of orange, because there's orange Loctite and purple Loctite too, and I have become a new fan of both. The purple and oranges
Is purple, blue, and red mixed together?
No, it's not. But what I've learned is that the orange Loctite and the purple Loctite, both, you can get them apart. It's not glued together for the rest of time.
Yeah. The purple is for like little screws, carburetor screws,
tiny stuff.
My dad had this stuff that he used for electronics. It was called Gliptol, and it was like
really? Oh, that's interesting. The purple is for anything in my world under an M4. So it's like an M4 or smaller. I use the purple. It seems to work perfectly, and it's not in there so tight that you're going to round off the fastener or strip it trying to get it out, which is really nice, because even the blue, sometimes with the small fasteners, you'll destroy it trying to get it out, trying to back it out. Yeah. And the orange is another one. That orange just hits the sweet spot as far as just being the medium level of strength. It's never going to vibrate out under any circumstances. But if you're like, oh, wait, the customer wants a full set of bags on this thing. Wait, I just prepped it a week ago, and now you want a full set of bags on it. So I'm going to have to take apart 27 pieces of hardware to put this entire rack of bags on it. Yep. Good thing I didn't use the expensive lock or the strong Loctite, because it's all going to come apart. And there are very few things in the shop that I have a big jug of Loctite that is not Loctite brand. It's another brand. And it's confusing because it's medium strength, but its color is red.
Yeah, I've had the same experience.
Yeah.
It's not universal.
It's not universal.
Red isn't red across brands.
Yeah, it's...
But all the reds taste the same.
They do taste the same. You're absolutely right. I guarantee that sweetness.
Give you the same brain damage.
That sweetness that's with the red.
Like they should have made them not taste good. Because how many times have you been putting on a screw or something and then you lick your not purposely?
How many times?
Sleepy.
100% of the time.
I mean, yeah, but Sleepy, do you have an addiction another addiction that you need to tell us about with your whole Loctite thing?
Yeah.
I think I'm missing something. I've never tasted Loctite.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
No, I will admit, I know exactly what he's talking about.
When both of my hands are occupied, my mouth becomes the tool holder, the parts holder. My mouth becomes the parts bin. And it's like, sometimes I'll have 3 or 4 pieces of hardware going at one time, because I'm like, I don't want to set that stuff down. My Ohio Phil quote, hey, a threaded bolt works better than Loctite once. Yeah.
I'm assuming that's cross-threaded, not just threaded.
No, it's in the way, if you want to say it correctly for the t-shirt, it says cross threads good as Loctite.
Cross-threaded as good as Loctite.
Cross threads good as Loctite. Once. That's it. Cross threads good as Loctite.
And then the next guy's got to go, that son of a...
If you got to get down the road and that bolt, if that bolt has keyholed itself out of there and you have almost nothing left in the way of threads, my friend, come at it at a hard angle. Come at it at a hard angle.
You're going to have to tap it anyway.
If you're going to have to replace those threads anyway, you got one shot at this. Back off, put your head on crooked, drive that fastener in with all the ferocity you can muster. It'll hang on for the rest of the trip.
Interesting.
You're fine. Yeah, you need to know that with your Super Hawk. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good thing to know, because the old stuff, if you're not willing to put a JIS everything in your toolkit, you need to understand that you're going to round off a lot of those fasteners. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, that's okay. I can just use this screwdriver. It's the one I have in my hand right now. This Phillips will do just fine. Stop. Put it down. Go get a JIS. Save yourself 5 or 6 hours.
On their CB350s too, is everything is JIS.
That's why.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. That's the important learning curve thing right there for all the kids.
Well, some of them are pretty fucked when we get them.
Oh yeah.
And Common Motor has been so unbelievably generous. They're giving us the stainless bolt Allen head.
Allen heads are genius.
So the kids are getting their practice with the Allen heads for sure.
Good. Chris was saying? Well,
I was going to ask, Brian, do you guys talk about the difference between JIS and
no
American Standard?
I've never. The JIS screwdrivers are so expensive. We can't afford to put multiple sets of those in every single school.
Right. Yep.
And there's a. It's not a high number, but there is. You have to assume there's a percentage of. If I've got 3 full pegboards laid out at this school and it's in a classroom that's unlocked, after 3 years, there's going to be some things that are missing.
Yeah, your shrink is going to be pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So, a regular screwdriver and a hammer is as good as a JIS.
He is absolutely not wrong about that.
Tap it, tap, tap, tap.
I wouldn't say it's as good as, but it's a suitable replacement.
Tap it, tap. Just tap, 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 tap. The world's miniest impact driver. Just tap, 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 tap. It's fine.
Well, or you definitely want to have those, and the real hand impact driver in your tool.
The skinny impact drivers,
where you push it, cock it, and whap it. I mean, you get anything apart with those.
They all get those.
Yeah, the skinny impact drivers. That's a great thing too, but it also teaches you hand-eye coordination, because it keeps the blood from squirting out of the web of your palm.
Yeah.
Every time you're like, oh man. Yeah. That's a good one. That's a really good item to teach people stuff with, because you're like, wait, this takes it out. But if you twist the collet this way, it puts it in tighter. Well, why is that important? Because you don't want it to be in any tighter. It is possible to get more fucked. You thought you were fucked. Now you're more fucked. Yeah.
So the point I was trying to make on the JIS is that these students are learning, and if they think everything that they get at Sears or Ace is standard, they won't realize that around the world people have different standards for areas.
That's true.
So it's just a little understanding, not that they have to use them, but just that maybe you keep your own personal stuff with you and you show it off a little bit. So just a thought.
That's a great thing for when they arrive at their first employer. For their first employer to come back and be like, what the hell is this? Get out of here. No, wait, I've given you a budget. Buy the right stuff, right? Let's make sure the right stuff is here. Because it is true. At my shop even, the RJI stuff is all Vessel. So it's not cheap.
Yeah.
And so we use Vessel for our JAS equipment. And when I see somebody who's just like, oh, I just need a Phillips head screwdriver, and they, I see them sporting a JIS out prying on something in the parking lot, trying to relieve the tension off a hitch or something, I'm always like, I don't want to say my tools are hidden, but they're just not right in the front where you can get them. And at the front of the shop, by where the bikes are coming and going, we've got a really rudimentary pegboard up there that none of those tools are up there are nice. None of those tools that are up there are expensive. The tools up there,
sacrificial.
They're exactly. They're sacrificial.
Even the stuff I've been buying for myself in the back, I'll still just buy cheap Craftsman stuff whenever it goes. Craftsman and Cobalt, whenever it goes on sale at Lowe's. Yeah. Buy the hell out of it.
Yeah, just buy it.
You're going to break it anyway. You're going to use it as a hammer or a chisel. Buy the cheap stuff, use it till it breaks, throw it away, and you won't feel bad about it.
When you're doing the training, and I see those pegboards set up, each pegboard has got $1,800 worth of just non-mechanical tools, just hand tools.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot of money. It is a lot of money to be able to do that. Are you getting any fun? Are you getting any fun tool sponsorships? Anybody trying to help you guys out?
Milwaukee has just shown interest, and they donated some pretty badass cordless things that we're raffling off. Summit Racing has given us a heck of a deal on whatever we need from them, so we order some tools from them.
Feel free to punch Sleepy in the face anytime.
Yeah, that's a big deal. You guys were making fun of that, but I'm very, very proud of that. Sleepy works at Summit, and I'm very, very proud to see Summit kicking it in.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Yep.
Is Lincoln still helping out?
No.
Yeah, they kind of dried up.
Yeah, we can't really get a hold of anyone that.
Yeah.
Everyone says they got good intentions, but they can't put us in touch with the right person yet.
Yeah, I can see that.
My date for Saturday was very disappointed not to see her corporate logo on the sponsorship page, and she's going to have some very, very sternly words for her boss next couple of weeks.
Yeah, so. Lean into her boss. They need to be up there at that Electra start level.
Yeah, because after you mentioned your mechanical engineer that went down to OSU,
right?
She is always looking for mechanical engineers. She's like, oh, wait a minute. This is a perfect program.
Now that same girl has gone from mechanical engineering at OU to a combined master's doctorate at OSU for quantum fucking heat transfer.
What?
Very
yeah.
nice.
Quantum heat
transfer.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'm like, I don't even know what you mean. She goes, well, think of like a switch. Think of anything that's got a piece of metal that heats up and expands and connects it. She's like, that's very basic, but what we're testing is this. I'm like, you lost me.
Yeah, you lost me. Because the second you say quantum, I'm certain at this point that time's involved. I'm going to rub it the wrong way.
That means imaginary.
It means quantum. Just means imaginary.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the quantum girlfriend I had in high school. She's from Niagara Falls.
No, really, guys, really.
You're talking about that, but with
My girlfriend was from Dayton.
She's a model. Look, she's in this magazine.
So was mine. Okay, now getting to the sponsors, getting to the people that are helping you out and donating. I think at this point, it is only fair for us to go through the items that some person might leave Crawford Auto Museum with on
the
Saturday night.
I mean, that Duesenberg might fit in my pocket, but I'm not 100% certain.
Yeah. Sleepy, if you'd be so kind as to throw me up on the screen real quick. Okay, so here we have at the bottom level, this is a $25 hair ticket. This is the cheapest ticket that they'll sell you, okay, to participate in this raffle.
That's the Summit raffle right there.
Okay.
Someone hooked us up with
this is Summit Racing Equipment's raffle package. Gear up with the ultimate collection of racing-inspired essentials from vintage decor to adventure-ready gear and family-friendly fun. This has at least a dozen items of value. Now, I want to pay attention. There's a 1958 to 1930s vintage gas pump drink dispenser. Yes, we've officially named that at the shop the Chris Smith official Malort pump.
Yeah, you guys do have that. Yeah.
And
we have that.
The
Yeah.
funniest part is it evaporated. Like almost all of the Malort is evaporated out of it. So this is Malort scum.
Syrup. Malort syrup. A Bigfoot 4x4 engine playset. That's cool.
Super Kitty, yeah.
Office gaming chairs with footrests. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Battery backup portable refrigerators, freezers.
I don't understand
What is
the battery
that? I can't
backup,
even figure that out.
but it is think about luggage with wheels.
Yeah.
And it's a fridge with a freezer in it. And you charge it and you drag it behind you to a tailgate, and you've got a freezer and a fridge that lasts hours.
And the battery backup is you can plug your phone into it, and then it charges your phone and stuff like that.
$25.
Right. Yeah.
This is not a tote bag. No, this is not a tote bag. Then,
This is the best thing.
this is my favorite thing.
It's unreal.
A 1/64th scale Blues Brothers 106 miles to Chicago slot car set. I just watched Blues Brothers the other day for the 238th time.
You have to.
It's dark and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it. I swear to, if it doesn't come with a half a pack of cigarettes, I'm going to be severely let down. And you need to be being chased by Carrie Fisher with a rocket launcher. Yeah, she did something before Star Wars. So that's pretty rad.
It is really cool.
You get the gas pump nozzle wall decor. You get the travel tote bags. You get beach towels. You get straw hats. You get 40-ounce travel. Do you know how big a 40-ounce travel tumbler is? Huge. That is the Bubba de Bubba de Bubba Hotep keg. That is the Bubba Hotep monster keg.
That's 1 1/4 quarts.
That is 1 1/4 quarts. We'll do anything to not go metric.
And my counselor said I'd never be good at math.
Oh, that is so on the money. Okay, that's the lowest priced event. Okay, next we have the Cleveland Culture Fix Raffle Package. Again, this is real. $25. You could get a Skidmark Lounge karaoke party.
I thought that was the dumbest idea, but fucking people
going nuts.
love this shit.
No.
They are going nuts for it.
And Greg Castillo is the MC for it. He hooks them up with all the songs, and they stand on that stage and they start screaming these songs out, and all their friends start screaming it with them, and
why
everyone
this-
has the best time ever.
Why this isn't a weekly thing like a Japanese sushi bar, I have no idea.
Because someday the people have to leave so he can lock the door.
That's true.
Sometime
Well, this is why
they have to leave.
That's why Greg just becomes the manager.
Okay. You get Ilarioni pizza gift card. Okay, that's great. Happy Dog gift card. We all love Happy Dog. It's a great place for hot dogs and punk rock bands and all kinds of good shit. The Ridge and Rail gift card. That's totally rad. 2-ticket vouchers for the Great Lakes Theater. Voucher for up to 6 tickets at the Music Box Supper Club. That one alone is probably worth about $340.
That show for I went to the Dreadnought show a couple of months ago, and it was freaking amazing. I'd never been there, and it was freaking amazing.
That's real money right there, folks. Cloud Nothing's 2 Rare Live LP, their latest LP, and the band T.
I went there before episode 151.
Oh, you did?
I'm going to give you a connection here. Cloud Nothings is Brett Baldy, who just did a cross-country monkey trip with us last year. That's his nephew.
No way.
Man. Yeah.
Right on. Oh, that is super cool.
Yep.
We get a Ready Set Roasters gift card, we get Martha on the Fly gift card, and we get Duck Rabbit coffee gift card. So that is enough to get you the jitters.
Yerf.
Yeah.
You got the jitters covered on that. And then again, $25. Wouldn't it be cool to go home with that? Okay, now the Throttle and Thrive raffle package. Okay. I'm going to get into this because this is crazy.
Yeah.
The Fountain Peppercorn, Harmon Belt Bag, and Peppercorn Scout Wallet. These are artisanal, legit stuff.
Big money.
Big money. Like this is artisanal craftsmanship that you're getting for $25.
Cleveland's own Gucci.
Yeah.
It is.
Style.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's handcrafted leather stuff.
Yeah,
It's really,
this is cool as hell. You get a $300 gift card for Woodhouse Spa. And I've heard that they will rub it, but they won't tug it. Okay. The Heart of Gold gift card.
not for 300.
No. $20, same as downtown, right, Chris?
You want happy ending?
Momocho gift card, yay! The Patron Saint gift card and their signature Riviera blend coffee beans and a bottle of Amaro. Oh, that right there is $65, $75.
Yeah.
So you're winning. Mitchell's ice cream gift card. I strongly recommend the Dutch chocolate. It's vegan.
The vegan. The
Blow
vegan,
your toes off. That is not fucking around.
The vegan Buckeye one, man. I had that the other night.
I'm all about their full-leaded Rocky Road ice cream there, yeah.
When I first went to Mitchell's, it was like, oh no, you're gonna love this. I'm like, it's an ice cream shop.
No.
I've had Bricados, which has been around for 100 years.
You're fine.
And I went in, I was like,
Yeah.
Okay, I get it.
Mitchell's.
Yeah,
trust me on this one. Prosperity Social Club gift card. Again, can't go wrong with Prosperity.
Right. On Pierogi night.
They have Ethnic Wednesdays.
Yeah.
All right. Old Country Wednesdays are a big fan of that. 4 courtesy coupons for a 9-hole golf outing at the Cleveland Metro Parks. That's great. I guess you can drink beer there too. And 4 passes to the Great Lakes Science Center. That's something great. You should go there every 3 years, whether you need to or not. It's important. You should learn things.
Do you want to know something interesting about golf?
Yeah.
The better at golf you get, the less golf you play.
Correct.
Yeah, that's how I'm the best.
Correct.
I haven't had a stroke years.
Yeah.
Every morning, just one, and then I'm done. Okay. Sports in Cleveland package. Again, $25. These are all just $25.
This one is insane.
This is bunkers. Okay. 12-person belly up experience at Cordelia and Cordelia Swag. 12 people. 12 humans.
That's like $1,500.
So you got to go find 10 friends because I know you don't have it.
Yeah.
But this is a fortune of money. This is a real pile of money here. If you don't ever want to pick up a 12-person check at Cordelia, you don't want to pick up that check. You don't want to be the guy, the big spender who's going to like, I got this. No, you don't. You're not that man. I promise you're not that guy. 2 center court tickets to a Cleveland Cavaliers game. That's. I think they said it was for any game except for when they play the Harlem Globetrotters. So
That's the one I wanted to see.
Skirt them out.
So sign Tristan Thompson basketball with a letter of authenticity and Cleveland Cavaliers swag. Not too shabby. Masthead Brewery gift card, Great Lakes Brewery gift card, and a $100 gift card for Woodhouse Spa. This one right here, from sheer dollar volume, like sheer financial impact, that's the one. That's the one. That's the one you could probably, if you win this one and you're not into all the basketball stuff, you could definitely, you could scalp this one. You could make a bucket of money on that one for real.
I'd trade it for that slack car set.
Me too.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, me too.
Me too. I'm in. You know what? If I can't see a Bluesmobile flying off the track at 60 miles an hour because I overcooked it, I ain't living.
Does it have the big horn on the top? Do we know?
What's that? The Bluesmobile car?
Yeah,
The track car?
It's a Bluesmobile.
It has to have the horn, right?
And it has to come with a little car full of Illinois Nazis.
Yeah.
Oh man, really? You have to have the Pinto wagon chase car.
Illinois Nazis. All right. And now here, the second biggest gift. I have a problem with this. I want it too hard.
Yeah.
It's amazing how many people have said that.
I know. I want this bike too hard. This is a 2006 Husqvarna 450 SM. The S stands for Sado and the M stands for masochist.
Yeah.
Because you are probably going to fucking get hurt on this bike.
Dude,
Oh, yeah.
Steve Noble and Greg Boyd both rode this after Steve got it running. And Greg was like, the front tire comes up with every single shift.
Every shift.
Oh, absolutely.
And I was like, I'm not riding that.
There are motorcycles in your life that you know you will get hurt on. And that's why I sold the FTR 1200R before I actually got a chance to live it and enjoy it. When somebody wanted to give me money for it, I took the money and I let the bike go away because I realized that me and that bike were probably going to have an unhappy ending. A lot like John's experience with the bathroom. Right? Probably going to get caught doing something I wasn't supposed to be doing. And there'd be a bathroom involved. So
it wasn't a happy ending.
It was not a happy ending.
Well, the happy ending came later.
The unhappy ending.
Unfortunately, it did not.
No, it didn't. Yeah.
There was no happy ending.
Unfortunate.
You don't get a return engagement after that.
That was interruptus.
No, I really want you to get the 450 SM because I get to test it, and I don't have to have any responsibility with it.
This is a fantastic motorcycle. And if you bought 10 raffle tickets and you got this bike for $500, you would still be the smartest man in the room. There's no doubt about it.
And as of, I think, 4 o'clock today, There were 41 tickets sold, so you have a hell of a great chance of winning this thing for $50.
So Phil's gonna go home by 50 more.
Go buy 50 more tickets.
But you only need one. Don't let that intimidate you.
And if you win it and you go, oh man, Phil will be standing near the center of this.
And that's getting a sticker kit tomorrow too, so it'll look cool. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, wow. This is a bike that when it first came out, I was like, yeah, I can get one of those. Yeah, but they were $10,500.
Yeah.
Right? When they first came out,
they were not cheap.
They were expensive. Wow. This was not a cheap bike to buy.
No.
This was a very expensive bike to buy when it was brand new.
I just miss saying Husqvarna.
Husqvarna.
I miss my 610.
Yeah.
I used to say I have a Husqvarna.
Husqvarna?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it said, but it literally said MV Augusta on the title.
It did.
I know.
I proudly told the dude at the AIM Expo that when Captain fucking $1,000 suit came up, he was like, what are you doing your video for? And I was like, hey man, you know what I'm doing this thing. He's like, oh, he goes, have you ever owned one? I go, yes, I have.
I had the MV Augusta 610.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said, which bike? And I said, it was yellow and white. He goes, really?
Yeah. It was a 610.
610.
Check to see how he knows his product.
Yeah.
It was a 610. It had a recluse clutch in it.
I don't remember making it. Or we don't. And then I explained to him that it was,
before your time.
the Husqvarna.
Yeah.
And then he was
He's
like, he goes, yeah, you look more like a pond guy. We'll stick with the pool over here.
The only thing he looked like to me was like a shady business major.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he didn't seem like a motorcycle guy.
No, he's the kind of guy that knows the difference of watch movements.
Yes, he does. Yes. Yeah, but he can't tell an open end from a box end, so fuck your hat.
No, he can't.
Yeah, so that Husqvarna, 2006 Husqvarna, and the video of it ripping down the street, it sounds exactly like what it should sound like. It sounds angry. It sounds like a thumper. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like this bike.
That's the 4-valve with the 2-out exhaust into one, so it makes it even better.
It does.
Because I had the BMW F650 Funduro, which made the same noises.
It's a really setup. Yeah, and probably had just a scant bit less horsepower than this does. This is a vicious bike.
Oh, yeah.
Vicious bike. So that's cool. And then the queen of the prom, the belle of the ball.
Yeah.
The absolute, the bait. The bait. Okay, so how many tickets aren't left to the FLHRI, which in Harley language is a flurry?
There aren't, as of like 4:00, there are not 81 tickets left.
Right. Yeah. That's right.
So there are only 19 left as of 4:00.
Very, very small number of tickets left. And if you're playing the game at home, you need to press the button right now. Go to MotoGo Cleveland. Click the link for the raffle and click on where it says Harley Davidson. Now, the email could be a little confusing because I bought a couple of tickets for the Road King and I bought a couple of tickets for the Husqvarna. And when I got my receipt back, it said that I'd bought all the tickets for the Husqvarna, even though they were priced differently. So the Husqvarna tickets are $50 and the Road King tickets are $100.
$100, yeah.
The email's going to confuse you. Don't freak out and call Lexi and give her a hard time like I did. I'm like, look, I want to buy the tickets and all, but I didn't want to buy 5 tickets for the Husqvarna. I wanted to spread it around a little bit.
Nah, you wanted to buy 5 for the Husqvarna.
They charged me the right money for the distribution of, Harley and Husqvarna tickets. They charged me the right, but
you can buy raffle tickets without showing up. I mean, can you just buy them? And if you win, you don't have to be there. I mean,
correct. You do not have to be there.
You don't have to pay $150 to come to the benefit. Feel free to just buy raffle tickets for the bikes.
Yep. And the other gifts. You can buy any of the tickets.
Which also answers Sean's question, because he actually asked us if we'd buy tickets for him if he friended us, and I'm like, dude, just go online.
Yeah,
right. You can do it online,
and I will deliver it up to 150 miles.
Wow!
And
free delivery.
That thing, and further than that, Keith will deliver it.
So will you hang out and hang out with the winner?
Yeah.
Nice.
There you go.
That's cool.
That thing only has 10,000 miles on it.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Oh man.
That's a lot of bars.
Lot of chrome.
Yeah, that is a lot of bars.
It is a nice looking bike, though, man. I definitely bought a ticket for that one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Gotta have it.
Cubby did it. I don't know if you guys know Cubby. He did a full-on detail of the thing and made it look like a show bike, and all that pearl white is fabulous. The chrome is unbelievable. That thing's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I can tell you that it is a very, very cool bike.
We've dubbed it the 99th anniversary edition.
You're right. Last week. It's a little more rare than the 100th anniversary.
A little bit more there. Yeah, that's absolutely true that it is. It is just 1 year rarer than the 100 because they made 90 million of the 100th anniversary editions.
Yeah.
And this is fuel injected.
Oh, did I check that before?
It is fuel injected. So the fact that it's fuel injected means it's all ahead full.
It means it has no carburetors.
That's exactly right. It has the correct number of carburetors. Absolutely. Yeah, it is absolutely
Sean
the right
said
number
if he
of
wins, he's a little over 150 miles, but he'll trade holding a Raptor to make up for any excess mileage.
That's cool.
So yeah, Renee is going to deliver it then.
Nice. Yeah, Renee will deliver it if it comes with a Raptor. Yeah, that is totally cool. Yeah, Renee's never happier than when she's holding my bird. The bird. The bird. Yeah. Yeah, that's that. I'm sorry, that is an absolute thing.
I got at least 3 days worth of jokes out of the burrow owl.
Oh, easily, yeah. Oh, the burrow owl. Yes.
Burrow owl.
Where does it live, Tom?
They live in a hole in the ground. Why do you think they call it a burrow owl?
They do.
Speaking of jokes, if you cut off your left arm, then your right arm is left.
Wait.
I like it.
All right, we're gonna give that one away for free. You don't have to be at the Patreon $10 level.
Absolutely. I heard it.
My buddy had half of his body, his whole left side of his body cut off.
Oh, okay. All right.
But he's all right now.
He's all right now.
now.
Nice.
These are the jokes. Folks.
Hey, look at the time.
Hey, try the veal.
That is vicious. That is absolutely vicious. Yeah, I can only say that wasn't a $10 joke, man. That was not a $10 joke.
But two of them together still
It's
only
the
10.
warm-up crowd.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
So Chris better have something solid here.
Well,
Settle down, Tom.
What I can tell you is I just bought another ticket. And I bought a ticket for the Summit Point Party Bundle because of that 164 slot car set. And I bought another ticket for the Harley just to even it out. So I got the same number of tickets for the Harley as for the.
I just looked up the slot car.
Yeah.
Guess what Summit's selling that for?
It's not cheap.
$250
For a slot car set? Yeah. It must be a really good slot car set.
So if you win the Summit Racing
Chris,
one,
what cars come in the set? Is it what cars come in the set? I'm dying to know.
Well, it's probably cop cars and then the Blues Brothers cop car because they're getting chased by cop cars.
One would think, right?
Because I don't know. Well,
technology baffles him.
Yeah. What's in there?
The only thing I was bummed about was it didn't have the car driving through a mall.
Well, there should be a mall set up.
Right, there is a mall like
Disco pants and haircuts.
Oh yeah,
cardboard background.
So it got the
it's
cop.
been confirmed. The horn is on top of the car.
Is?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's
sizable too.
This cop car.
That's right, kids. It's ladies' night. The Blues Brothers Boys Review in Lake Wapakoneta.
They play both kinds of music.
Yes, they do. Okay, well, that is so freaking cool. I'm just a huge fan of that whole thing. Would anybody like to hear information about our patrons and emails of the like?
Oh, hate mail.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I'm pretty excited about that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. We've got quite a bit of activity going on right now, but I want to say I'd like to register a complaint. You might remember that I prostrated myself last week begging people to sign up or subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
Like and subscribe, yes.
14 people got the memo.
Hey, that's nice.
The rest, we got to talk.
Well, that's I've discovered this with my YouTube channel too.
Yeah.
It's really like that button.
Yeah.
You need the force, the pressure needed to push that button.
It's tough.
It's insurmountable
It's
in
tough
some cases.
to
It's
make that
unbelievable.
one click.
Yeah.
That says subscribe.
It's really hard.
Because people don't like commitment in their life.
97. I was looking at stats. It's one of my hobbies. I'm addicted to it. I think we're at 96% of the people that watch our shit aren't subscribed to it.
Right. If we were trying to achieve non-subscription,
You're doing an excellent job.
nobody could be more successful.
Right.
Because we have a 97% kill rate of not getting subscribers.
Right.
And in any endeavor in the world, if you're doing 97% of something, you're the best. You're just the best.
I subscribe to just random bullshit when I feel like it.
If you're batting 970, you're the best. You're the best in the world.
My rule is if I watch 3 videos from some guy and I feel like I'm going to watch another one, I'll subscribe.
You'll subscribe.
If I watch one and it's nothing good, then I move on. But like you see the repeat offenders all the time. Comments. Motherfuckers comment. that aren't subscribed.
I love that.
And I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
If
what,
you're
what are you
commenting,
doing?
you're down the doobly doo.
Yeah. You know what? You know what? From now on, if you
I feel strongly
if you,
about this.
If you comment on our videos and you aren't subscribed, we're going to delete it. Or I'm going to shit talk you in your fucking comment.
Now you're just not.
Speaking of shit talk,
I think Gauntlet Throne.
Lay it on us, Uncle Phil.
All
What do you
right, so
got?
here we go. Joshua Clark. Joshua Clark says,
Thanks, Pete.
Thank you. Hey, Sleepy. Didn't know about the Ace Cafe in New Hope until you turned me on to it last podcast. I'm a few hours from there in PA, and I will check it out soon as the weather continues to improve.
Yeah.
If you're coming out to visit and you want some company, I'll go along if my schedule allows. Also, while I can't offer much, if you want to save on having to stay in a hotel, you're more than welcome to crash on my couch. That's 7, 8, 9 of us. I think we're okay. We're good. Cool. Thanks, Josh. That was super generous of you.
We all spoon. It's
I
fine.
think it's a good idea. I think that's
Little
a big
spoon,
deal.
big spoon. We're
For the
good.
fourth time in PA history, a podcast has disappeared in the mountains of.
And then they just got raptured up. Even the atheist. It was weird.
We fell into a hole in Centralia. It's fine.
Yeah. The super, super cool.
Don't go through North Apollo.
John Smith, my friend. Jay Coleman asked, John Smith, what got into you? I have no idea. He just doubled his Patreon payment.
Oh. Does he get the jokes now?
He does.
Cool.
Yeah, he went from $5 hairs to 10.
What jokes?
There you go. Right.
Nobody understands the jokes.
Slacking. We've been slacking.
And therein lies the humor, though.
Do you know what's going to happen on Monday?
The Rapture?
No, Dave Swearingen gets his Caliber 700 bagger.
The Kelly Bro.
Yeah.
The Calibro.
Yay.
Yeah, so Unky Phil's going to take a road trip, or
Okay.
Keith if you're aware. And I'm going down, and I'm going to deliver the bike to him, and I'm going to pick up the G400C.
Cool.
Nice.
Come back. That's going to be on Monday. So
I'm going.
Doing a bit of a road trip.
Well, somebody wants to plan out his new G400C over here. So.
Oh, there you go. Look at that. See how good that is. That's so smart. I'm a big, big fan of that. It's super, super cool. And then weird. The one guy, he somehow his little donation he makes changes from $5 to $10. But then Greg Childs is like, no, hold my fucking beer. And he goes, no, $20.
Damn.
He goes from 10 to 20.
Hey.
He just literally bumped. Now we have people that are at the legend level.
Yeah.
Right? This is the fucking legend level as far as I'm concerned. Call in. Let us hear your voice. Become a part of this. Chime in. We're here for you, man. This is what you're doing. If you're nice enough to give us $20, that's like 4 mid-strength beers. Right?
Yeah.
If you're nice enough to buy us 4 mid-strength beers, we want to hear from you, man. We want to know, how have we touched you in the past 13 years?
Uh-oh.
Inappropriately.
Yeah.
Usually, that's
Usually.
fair. Yeah, that's legit. And then Moto Smith throwing down $8 of Canuckstanian Kopecks.
Oh, look at that.
That's right. He's throwing down beaver money.
That's one high-level beer.
That's 4 toonies, 8 loonies, right?
And this is continuing the great relationship that Canada and America has. We will continue to honor that relationship as long as
As
we
Nick
possibly
DeVito
can.
proved, it's 1/2 of a beaver pelt.
Yes.
Depends on the club.
If you weren't paying attention many years ago, I said you could pay for your Patreon with cash dollars, Canadian money, or beaver pelts. And only one person ever sent me a beaver pelt, and it wasn't properly tanned.
Oh.
No.
You have to specify.
He did his best.
I run into a couple of those in my day.
Yeah. Yep.
A guy walks into the doctor's office and sits down and says, "Now, doc, this is going to sound strange, but I have 5 penises." The doctor says to him, How do your pants fit?" And he says, "Like a glove."
There you go.
But I'm bumped.
So,
That's an oldie but a goodie. Okay.
That's an only one.
So-
I already started.
so this is just simply
There are
a
3
taste.
discs.
This is simply a taste of what you get at the $10 level.
Yes.
So Swearinger said when you deliver his bike, don't get it wet.
Don't get it wet.
And
Oh,
then
he did
drive
say-
between the raindrops.
Yeah, he did. He specifically asked if I was going to be delivering in an enclosed trailer, and I said, "No, Dan's trailer's full of camping equipment right now. I can't bust Dan's trailer out." Oh, another interesting thing happened to the shop. Do you guys remember that Ford Econoline E350 van I had that used to go to all the places and fun and all the stuff, and that was where I slept all the time?
And the people from the podcast used to, yeah.
My house.
Yeah.
I sold it.
Oh.
So I sold it.
Oh, wow.
And this is really the kind of the interesting part about, just time, and time's a strange thing. I bought that van 8 years ago. Mm-hmm. I bought it in Arizona. I flew out to Arizona. I mailed the guy the money in a magazine inside a UPS folder. He was a bit of a weird dude. He didn't trust me. He wasn't like, well, how am I going to know that you're going to pay me? I said, well, I'm going to send you the money. And he goes, I said, I'll send you the deposit. We'll do whatever. I'll wire transfer, whatever. I don't know. That seems sketchy. I don't know anybody that would fly from Cleveland, Ohio to Phoenix, Arizona to buy a van. I think it's a scam. I said, yes, but until you don't have the van anymore, there's no scam.
Care? Yeah.
Right.
Right? And he was convinced I was scamming him. And I said, well, what will it take? And I said, so if I send you all the money and you have the cash, green, cold, hard folding currency, are you cool? Will you keep it for me and not sell it to anybody else? I'm buying a plane ticket. Write me out. And he goes, well, so I literally took an old motorcycle magazine, threw $6,500 cash in it, insured it for $6,500, wrote contents, one vintage motorcycle magazine. It was like a 94 Cycle World, and federal notes, because that's what they are. They're federal notes. And I insured it for $6,500. And I sent it overnight, courtesy of UPS. He got it. He signed for it. Renee and I showed up 3 days later, ready to take the van home. And we knock on the door. We didn't just show up, we made sure. We knock on the door. He comes up and he's holding the cash in his hand. He goes, what am I supposed to do with this?
Well, it is cash.
Give it to me.
Yeah. You can give it back and I'll take the van too.
I said,
spend it.
And I said, that's money. You buy things with it.
You go out to dinner like 100 times.
It's fiat. You can do whatever the hell you want with it.
Did you know how much McDonald's you can buy on $6,500?
Well, the long and short of it is, he's like, so can you come with me to the bank? I'm not joking. Can you come with me to the bank so we can have the bank check to make sure it's not counterfeit?
That's fair.
And I went,
All right.
no, because I have lost the chain of custody of that money. And if you've replaced all of it with counterfeit money,
Also true.
I have no way of knowing that you did that. And we'll go to the bank, and your bank teller will tell me that those are current counterfeit notes. And I've lost control of those. Whoa. And I said, so the deal's been done. You're either going to give me the title and the keys, or you're going to give me the stack of money. And I may or may not punch you in the dick. 50-50 chance on that one. Because I didn't really have plans to fly to Phoenix. Right? There's a good tiki bar there.
You could have taken that cash to a bank and checked it out before I flew to Phoenix.
That is why I did not want to fall for that trap of making that arrangement, because he had every opportunity to check its validity prior to my arrival and purchasing a plane ticket, etc. Again,
I had a guy today. So I'm working on a thing on Marketplace, right? And the guy's in Akron. And so I'm like, hey, man, I live in Wellington, but I work in Akron, blah, blah, whatever. He's like, yeah, I don't know, man. It seems kind of scammy. I'm like, what am I going to do? Show up at your house and make you go buy me Best Buy gift cards? Like, what is the motivation?
Scam?
Like, where's the scam? I said I'd come and bring you cash, not send it, not anything.
Let's do this deal in the police station parking lot, or wherever it is you normally suck dicks.
Sure.
I'm okay with that.
Right.
I'm willing to meet you on your terms.
I don't know, Phil. I don't really want to walk into your dealership.
Right, that's the other
and
one. Is
hand you money.
An established business that's been here for 25 years, that's willing to throw away a 25-year career over your van.
Yeah.
Right. Like I'm gonna risk it all over this small transaction.
So you're finally importing the giant monster, the Toyota super van. Is that what we're getting to replace this now?
What you talking about, Willis?
To replace the Econoline, we're finally getting the Toyota Super Ace.
Well, I already have a high ace, and it's 2 inches off the ground, and astronauts have sex in the back of it. I have that one. Yeah, I have that.
The full-size Ace.
So how'd the Arizona story
full-size
work out?
It is a full-size Ace?
So the guy that bought my van, thank you, Chris.
Jesus Christ.
The guy that bought my van is a Yoder toter.
Oh. But there's no windows on that thing. Right?
Yeah,
perfect.
It's got
It's all windows.
In fact, it used to have seating for 12, and I took all that out. Yeah. And Merrick got mad at me for having the seating for 12 sitting out by my garage for so long that I eventually gave it away.
This isn't the black one with the Cleveland.
The black one. Black Betty. Black Betty got stolen.
That's what I've been picturing.
Black Betty got stolen.
Right. I forgot about
Black
that.
Betty got stolen. Yeah, probably stealing ATM machines for a living now. But this was just a regular silver 12-pack E350. Oh. And the guy shows up and, I've got everything on it.
He's scrubbing up the Baptist church signs on the side of it.
Oh, he was
reapplying them.
Yeah, he was super stoked because it's got the giant trailer hitch on the back. So it can tow anything. He's like, what's the gross vehicle weight rating on the trailer on that? I said, 12,000 pounds, I guess. I said, the hitch is rated for 12,000 pounds. It's a class 5 hitch. Wow. And he goes, I didn't know they went to class 5. I was like, they
this
do.
one goes to 11, yes.
They do go to class 5.
What is the connection method? Because my Dodge is a 3, and that's like a solid 6-inch metal tube that wraps through the back. So what makes it a 5?
This one goes up and ties into your shoelaces. Yeah. You couldn't possibly.
It becomes part of the frame.
Yeah, you couldn't possibly get rid of this thing if you tried.
So,
gotcha.
It's just there forever.
So, Unky Phil, take us back to Phoenix. How did that thing resolve itself?
So I eventually, the
Thanks, Pete.
Thanks, Pete.
Jesus Christ.
Hostile negotiations, and then Renee and I got into it, and we realized he was a foster dad. He'd foster kids, so he had a whole bunch of foster kids. So the inside of it was covered with spit, half-eaten candies, and puked up crayons because he didn't foster smart kids.
Weird how that stayed
window
the same.
lickers.
Weird how that stayed the same.
Window lickers.
The very back seat, the very way back seat. The very way back seat was just crusted in saliva.
I don't want to know.
There were just
How do you know it's saliva?
brown
He's just
racing
making assumptions.
brown racing stripes on the headliner.
Do you have any DNA tests done?
Okay, so we get this thing. Money is exchanged. He gives me the receipt for the 4 brand new tires. Generally speaking, off I fuck. We roll out of there on 12 pounds of air in each of the tires. And these are light truck tires that are meant to be inflated to 75. We roll out of there. We immediately associate ourselves with the nearest We Do It All type car wash, right? We pull up to the We Do It All type car wash. The guy looks inside and goes, no. It's 115 degrees. He just looks, he gives it a quick glance and goes, no way. No way.
No way, man.
No way.
No way.
We go to Murray's Auto Parts. I spend $100 on chemicals. We go out. I spray the entire inside of this thing with every foaming solvent that's known to man. I pull into a quickie wash that has the vacuum cleaner machines and everything else. Renee is feverishly blasting the outside of it, and then I'm scrubbing the inside of it. And then at some point I told Renee, all right, get in there. And so she had to go in with the 1500 PSI and just give it the beans inside because it was so disgusting.
With the power washer.
Inside.
Oh, yeah.
We went for it.
With the upholstery. Seats, floor.
As such.
No.
It wasn't going to get worse.
Have you ever?
Seats, floor,
So these
ceiling,
I mean,
all of it.
It's all rubberized in there, man. Have
No,
you
it
ever been
isn't.
into- No?
No, mine
You had
was
the fabric.
Mine was the family truckster.
Oh.
Not one, but 2 roof-mounted DVD players.
Oh, wow.
And if you had sex with me, you'd know that. So that was the family truckster. It was the deluxe Warner Brothers package. It had all the stuff, all the buttons, all the switches, the air conditioning in the back, the heater in the back, all the stuff.
Dude.
Renee went in and she got it, and then before anything electrical could burn, I immediately drove it into the bay and grabbed both the vacuum cleaners, and we attacked it with the vacuum cleaners to suck the foamy shit, whatever it was. We basically invented our own steam cleaning process right there.
You're like the jizz boppers at the
Well, if you've ever had sex with Phil, you've seen this process 6 or 7 times.
It was tragic. And Renee's sensitive to everything, like anything, auditory, visual, olfactory especially. And Renee's like, I can't even be in here. And I was like, well, this is how you're getting home from Phoenix. And she's like, I know it's going to make me sick. I said, open 8 of these windows open. Yeah. Open up all 8 windows. So open up all the windows. It's 115 degrees. We're driving down the road. And I was like, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to drive across 3 or 4 states. We're going to drive across 3 or 4 states, and then we're going to do everything again. We're going to give it a second dose because I think we broke up a lot of it. But I mean, I
Loosened it up.
I got so many stiff bristle brushes and the whole deal. It was fiercely bad. And so it was so bad that like when we got it home and I was like, well, it's a rally wagon. It's not meant to haul 12 people. Like, you know, I don't keep seats in anything. Everything I own is meant to be slept in or to haul bikes. And so I took the seats out because they weren't nobody's friend. Man, those seats were not great for anybody. And so I took them out and I stacked them in a Jenga style fashion, Tetris style fashion out behind my garage. And Dr. Waters looked at them for about 8 months. And then she was just like, they got to go.
Were they growing things at that point?
No, but you know,
Mushrooms.
why take the chance, right? Why take the chance? I wrapped them up real tight and somebody came and picked them up.
Yeah, I laugh about that, but every time I put these seats back in my element, I have to tow something or haul something, and I'm like, why do I even have these?
Well, because if you own motorcycles, your vehicles that can fit motorcycles inside, which an Element will hold a CB350, we've proven it.
Yeah.
Emmy and I went and picked up a CB350 by accident, and we happened to just be driving my Element. And Emmy and I are like, I don't know if that's going to go. And it turns out you loosen the handlebars, they go right in.
Drop them down, you're good to go.
Kind of amazing. And, you know, everything I own has tie-down straps in it, so that wasn't a problem.
Yeah.
And Emmy's small, scoot the seat all the way up. It was fine. I was so happy to see that van go away. But here's my favorite part of the story. Paid $6,500 for it, sold it for $8,500.
How many years ago did you buy it?
8 years ago.
Oh, yeah. It's free money, baby.
8 years ago. Ain't inflation a motherfucker? Whoa. Yeah, I know. And it runs perfect. It's I took good care of it.
But you probably put that much money back into it to making it right.
Well,
and cleaning materials.
Yeah, definitely cleaning materials for sure. For sure, in cleaning materials. But it was crazy that, you know, all these years later, I was just getting ready to go to Kyle's party. And I was vacuuming it out, getting ready for Kyle's party. And I found like pieces of action figures and weird, you know, crevices. And I was like, that's not one of mine. I don't know where that thing came from.
I've never had this play set.
Oh, yeah, it's crazy. But it's just, but I was like, when you have a vehicle for a long time, and I priced it at $99.99 just to scare the punters away.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic because when you price something right, the first people that came out and looked at it are the people who bought it. And it was up for 2 months. It was listed for 2 months on Facebook Marketplace. I kept updating it, doing the due diligence. I only had, we've all listed things on Facebook Marketplace. Is this still available? Oh. You get 9,000 of those.
Oh, yeah.
No, I did not get that on this van. I got maybe 3 or 4. And the only people that ever came out to look at it were the people who bought it. And I asked $99.99 and it went out the door for $8,500. Super duper happy. It's great. It's fucking great. It's beautiful. And the other day I was like, you know what I should do is I should sell that 2008 F-150 with the V6 and the 5-speed transmission. I should sell that. And then I took it to my deliveries on Monday. I was like, can't sell it. I can't sell it.
That's the problem is that truck is literally, it's like my old Ford Ranger. Something bad is going to have to happen for you to go.
It's a 5-speed manual V6 with no power anything.
Oh, I drove it to pick up the washer and dryer in that.
It's one step better than his truck.
Yeah, and it does everything you ask it to do. Just don't ask it to do it fast.
It's just such a basic vehicle. Yeah.
How's the rust?
Oh no, it doesn't rust.
So
fluid film, baby.
I fluid film everything I buy. So I buy things in Texas or Arizona. Yeah. And then before I
another tip
do anything, I fluid film them.
Do you do it yourself?
Absolutely.
You have a lift?
Yep, in my garage.
Oh. Yeah. You got
my Honda Element did not
chemical suit.
Oh, you don't need a chemical suit, my friend.
You don't?
Fluid film is made out of sheep.
You just.
Okay, the sheep don't.
Soylent Green is made of people.
The sheep don't die in the process. You just squeeze them really hard.
Bring your wellies.
You boil them a little bit just to get the lanolin out.
Squeeze them real.
Lanolin.
John, it's a sauna. Be honest. It's just a sheep sauna.
You sweat them good.
The lanolin comes out. They just sweat it right out.
You make a little soup.
But here's the thing that he doesn't tell you the first time you come to the party. So he is in a suit, okay, underneath the car, and you're like 10 feet away, and you're like, I'm totally cool over here. I'm not getting sprayed. But all this aerated fucking sheep juice is going through the air, right? So you start to smell like a French fry.
Did you say sheep jizz?
Yeah, sheep jizz. So you start to smell like a French fry, and you're like, okay, that's tolerable, whatever, right? You get home and you're like, let me take a shower. Let me get this shit off of me.
Oh, no.
You are now water repellent for at least 3 weeks. There is no showering, man. Water beads. It's like you were fucking carnauba waxed. It's amazing.
Ricardo Montalban's going to step out of your closet and go, oh, yeah.
I guarantee you, dude, you could it's like the regenerative oily shit that the women buy.
Yeah.
If you fluid film your car once a year, you're going to look 20 years younger by the time you're 80.
The first time I did it, I was an amateur, so I bought the cans and, the civilian size product, like $12 a can or whatever. But I had this Chevy S10 pickup truck that I really liked. Extended cab, low to the ground, super simple. I loved that truck. It was perfect for going and grabbing scooters real quick in a hurry. The tailgate was low. So my old shop, the Wilderness shop around the corner in Lakewood, we didn't have any car lifts or anything, and the service department was way too small. So what I did was I put 2 wheels of the truck up on the curb. And then I put wooden blocks under those 2 wheels. So my car was like, woohoo, in about a 40-degree angle. So I could just slide under it. So I laid cardboard down, put on my Army tanker overalls, slid underneath it, took a paper bag, cut holes in it, and put my goggles on underneath. Bet you're going to do that sometime in your life.
Dude.
That works. It's genius.
How many cans did you go through?
About 10. Yeah.
And when
costs
you say
way too much money.
Yeah, what's the other option?
So the other option is when you go to the pro level, and then Sleepy hooks you up with the 5-gallon pail. And a 5-gallon pail can do 10 cars, half gallon per car. And a 5-gallon pail is about $140 if you want to guide at Walmart or wherever to deliver it directly to your house. Okay. And then you get the 1500 PSI sprayer from Home Depot that you can buy for about $300 or you can rent for about $60.
Is it different than a pressure washer?
It's the house sprayer.
Oh,
Power paint, right?
oh.
So you get the one that has the schnozzle that dips into the 5-gallon bucket. It's going to save you a bunch of time.
Okay.
Then you order on Amazon and this is a farm implement. You may have to go into the agricultural section, but it's called an immersion heater.
But this was the brilliant part because, like, I had tried to do a whole bunch of shit before, and it's all thick and gross and stuff. And obviously, I didn't think about this.
Yeah,
but
viscosity
solved the problem.
Viscosity is about 200. It's super thick. It's like axle grease.
Yeah.
Right.
Holy shit.
So you take the immersion
it's
heater.
not messing around.
You drop the immersion heater in there, and that shit gets up to 110 degrees most Ricky tick. Stir it up. Keep the heat balanced. When it all gets up to about 100, 110 degrees, unplug the immersion heater or set the thermostat for it.
My dad we used to use a sandblaster for undercoating, and he had a stuff. I don't know if it was white. It kind of was like that, but it was something different. But like a sandblaster would suck fucking tar up and splatter everywhere.
Like I was painting this stuff on with a paintbrush until because I never thought about heating it like that. I thought it would hurt it or it would be too hot or something like that. I remember the first time I saw it, I'm like, damn, that's a good idea, man.
It works great.
I mean,
immersion heater.
You're basically dealing with bacon grease here, so you just get it liquid and then
First
turn
the
it back into
problem.
solid.
First the problem. Every time we decide to fluid film, we're not fluid filming in July. It's not 90 degrees in the garage. We're fluid filming in November, and it's 30 degrees in the garage. So then anything would be thick. The first couple of years we tried to do it, they said, oh, you want to thin out your fluid film, add vegetable oil. Mm-hmm. So I went and bought 2-gallon jugs of vegetable oil and kept adding it until I realized that my fluid film was mostly vegetable oil at this point to get it thin enough to shoot through the gun.
Wow.
And you don't have to buy any special tip. I think it shoots through a 63 tip, which is the tip that comes on the gun standard from Home Desperate or DeVilbiss, whoever you're buying it from. Anywho, the heat trick is the monster because then when it's hot and it goes on so fast, it goes on so slick, and it gets into the good spots.
And
well,
Renee turns into a little gremlin too. She just runs back and forth with that thing.
So we have 2
I was
guns.
impressed with Renee, man. She was really going at
See,
it.
your heat thing makes it so liquid that you can use that little tiny spot.
yeah.
So
sprayer.
we use a regular cup sprayer like you'd use on your car, spraying like your grandfather would paint a car with, regular cup sprayer, so conventional sprayer. So you use a conventional sprayer, and then we have a special gun that I think I spent all the $60 on that has a 3-foot hose on it and a little dentist pick at the end, and it shoots super tiny, super small.
Bitchin'.
And so then all the little holes in your doors, you just shoot that in the holes in the doors, and then your windows go up and down super easy. Your door locks open super easy, and then everything inside the doors is now good to go.
Your suspension doesn't squeak anymore.
Nope, it doesn't. It absolutely doesn't. It's great. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Your brakes don't break anymore.
That's
That's the trick.
Your windshield's never clear ever.
There's two important things. One is don't soak your brakes with it. Hit the calipers, hit them good, because calipers rust and calipers seize. We're in Cleveland, that's what happens. So juice the shit out of the calipers, but stay away from the rotors. Stay away from the rotors, stay away from pads. The other thing is, when you're doing it, put something over the windows. I know you think, I'm going to clean them off when we're done. No. Nothing gets fluid film off except for fire. Now, about the fire. So if you are like me and you spray a lot of it, so that little car I drove here in today, the Pajero Jr., last year when I was leaving the shop after a fluid filming adventure, I had driven to the shop, no problem. I'd left the shop and leaving the shop, heading home, super late, 1 in the morning. Guy pulls up next and goes, "Dude, man, your car's on fire." And I was like, "Yeah, it's a cool car." And he goes, "No, your car is on fire." And I went, "Huh?" And then I realized my car was in fire. And so I crawled into the back of my car, and everywhere the exhaust went on the back of the car was on fire because I had put enough fluid film on there. And here's a little tip that a firefighter once taught me. Virtually everything is flammable eventually. And fluid film, which is animal fat, is in fact flammable eventually. If you have enough of it on and the car's running hot enough, it does those things. And well, when you get a car that has a spinny little turbo on it, and that turbo is making a shit ton of heat, and I got underneath and there was a lot of fire there, and I didn't have any fire extinguishers, but I did have a pair of gloves I got from Liza at the Misfits. And I beat the fire out feverishly with my gloves. Yay. And because I didn't have anything to put the fire out with, like not even a water bottle. And so I just left it and kind of let things chill out for a little while. And then I fired it up and I drove it back to the shop and left it there and think about life. And grabbed the hose and sprayed everything out. And it was really hot. It was super hot. So important safety tip, kind of go easy on the catalytic converter. Go easy if you got a turbo on those items that get super red hot. Leave those ones, let those go a little bit.
Have you seen, speaking of fires and stuff, there's a thing circulating right now, this guy in a garage, he's working on it looks like a Dodge 1500 or a Chevy or something like that. And he's working with the battery and electrics, and he drops the hot lead and it just touches once, just on something, and goes, psh, and you can see the spark fall underneath the car where the fuel line had been leaking the whole time he was working on it. So this tiny, it's crazy how this tiny little mistake, he just dropped the lead, touched for half a millisecond, touched something just enough to make that hot enough, and it goes, and so that catches on fire, immediately shoots toward the back, and it goes from being like a small fire to black smoke really big quickly. The dude thinks, he's smart. He runs and throws it into neutral, pushes it out of the garage, gets it out of the garage. Good man. And then gets another thing, wraps it around the tow hook, and pulls it away from the garage.
Get it away from the house.
Completely fucking goes up in flames. But the whole thing is this all happens in 31 seconds. Yeah.
Holy shit. To be fair, this is Sleepy burning his fucking Dodge.
I was waiting for the punchline to be like, and by the way, I don't have to worry about the dead guy Dodge anymore.
No, the punchline is, do you know what I did?
What you did?
It's getting a new transmission, so now I'm going to be into this fucking truck for the rest of my goddamn life. But there is nothing left. No, I'm not saying it.
Don't ever say that.
Famous last.
All I'm saying is that the original parts of the truck are now the cab and the frame.
I
am committed to this fucking truck.
It's a $40,000 free truck.
Good God. As they say, free puppies are never free.
This is the world's most expensive free truck.
I'm telling you this. Anybody listening to this podcast that goes to Mid-Ohio, you will see this truck at Mid-Ohio until I'm no longer on this planet.
they Dodge rammed it right up your ass.
Yeah, they did.
Is it being held together by that black tape stuff that stops leaks that you have on your car?
So, what it's going to happen?
What's it called?
It's what's coming. Oh, yeah.
No, this comment is
Flex Seal or something?
Flex Seal. Don't you have a vehicle that's all Flex Seal?
Basically.
The comment that just came up is freaking gold.
What does it say,
It's the Dodge of Theseus.
It's Theseus truck.
That is gold right there. And so's Dead Guy Dodge, actually.
I am hacking off the only rust that's on it now is underneath the doors where they all rust on the seal part. So that's getting cut off. I'm gonna rivet in some new shit. And then I'm getting because the Summit bedliner stuff is fucking fierce, man. You put that on something and it's never getting touched again.
You're gonna have to
the bottom quarter is gonna be black. It's gonna be amazing.
What year is it?
2005.
Wow.
Do you know koala bears aren't really bears?
No.
They don't have the right qualifications.
Nice.
He's bringing it, folks. He's bringing it.
Do we have time for a tech tip?
Yeah, of course.
Don't stick your dick into a light socket.
Tom.
Oh,
That might be a problem for you.
so how's your dick in a light socket experience?
All right. So, if you would, Sleepy's got a race bike.
Oh God.
Sleepy bought a track bike, and he did all the right things. You bought it at a racetrack, right? You bought it from a racer. It's a Kawasaki 636. It's a pretty bog standard normal motorcycle. It's not an exotic Aprilia or something, right? It's not a weird bike.
Do you think you'll probably have about $20,000 into this once you replace the motor and everything like the big guy did?
No. I'm gonna run it. This thing. So I learned a lesson. After all my whole life, I fucking learned something. Don't buy a motorcycle when it's negative 20 degrees outside, because everything looks like condensation when it's negative 20 degrees outside. But no, it has a bit of an oil smoke.
Now, I would like to talk to you about that, because I have owned a metric shit ton of 4-cylinder motorcycles.
Yeah.
And I've owned a whole lot of 600 4-cylinder motorcycles. And I've owned a whole lot of 900cc four-cylinder motorcycles. And what I can tell you is it is completely not uncommon for these motorcycles, especially in the cold months, especially when the last 8 times the motorcycle was started, it didn't get up to operating temperature.
That's true. I thought about that.
So the last 8 times this bike was started, or 16 times, or 24 times this bike was started, it did not achieve operating temperature. So every single time this bike was started, it got the richest possible load of fuel-injected Fury.
Yeah.
It had absolutely no ring end fit at all, no cylinder fit at all. It was cold. It had the worst possible conditions for existing moisture in the cylinders due to our favorite thing, condensation. And every single time it's been started for the last however many times it's been started, it has been just banking moisture and banking raw hydrocarbons.
Yep.
When you mix raw hydrocarbons and moisture, you get something that looks and smells an awful lot like burning oil. Because until those raw hydrocarbons and water are gone, that's what you're seeing and or smelling.
I agree.
This bike needs to be hot for a while.
No,
and I mean,
agree
like,
with you.
let that fan cycle a couple, 3 times.
Yep.
Light a cigarette on the header pipe kind of situation. You know, maybe take it up to 3,500 or 45 RPM, you know, once it's totally warmed up.
Yep.
And watch until the fog goes away.
Yep. Well, and on top of that, so as I'm fitting the other fairings because I had the new fairings that I'm going to paint and do whatever with. And so I was moving some shit around, and the power commanders, I didn't think they were hooked up, and they are hooked up. So I don't know what tune it is yet.
No.
So at that point, it might be fucking rich because it smells very gas heavy too.
It's going to smell awful. So a motorcycle being stored over the wintertime that's only been like, well, I took care of my bike. I went up to the garage and I started it every month.
Yeah.
Well, gasoline has a shelf life of about 30 days.
It's-
and everything just smells horrible after the fact.
And that's the thing that I've seen a lot of people freak the fuck out. And the bike comes into the shop and I take it out in the parking lot and I gently warm it up. And we have to get from the open loop circuit to the closed loop circuit on the fuel injector.
Yeah.
Because as long as it's in the open loop circuit, it's going to be running rich as a bejesus anyway. So you can't do anything, you can't judge anything until it's gotten itself down.
Oh, yeah. No,
If you need to, we have an exhaust gas analyzer at the shop that once that bike is warmed up, that EGA is going to tell us instantly if you're leaking anything past the rings.
All right. Well, check this out, though. I did find something interesting about this whole thing. So, interesting enough, man, people don't take like racing seriously. They're like, oh, what? Not motorcycle, but just generally. Like, oh, yeah, you know, not that many people are into it, whatever, right? Because of one fucking sprint car racing series, it's like this micro sprint car racing series. They use the Kawasaki 05 to 06 636 motor. there are none. Like if you were looking for one, they're like $3,000 for a fucking motor from 2005 with 38,000 miles on it, or they've been rebuilt by like Henderson's subpar racing motors for $7,900,000 or some shit. Like it's like you get a bunch of guys together want to race, and those dudes will spend money to go faster. Like competitive racing is what I'm saying.
It just so happens that motor is the desired piece.
Yeah. Because it fits, like, out of the 600cc category, it has the extra 36 cc's that somehow Kawasaki managed to let slide.
I think what happened was the racing organization said, we want to have a lot of people on the track.
Yeah.
So we want to have a lot of people on the track. I know it's a 636, but come on in. Right?
Well, but Kawasaki's been doing, okay, this next one's only going to be 600 cc's. This time it's 600. No. Listen, 2012,
right.
600 cc's.
I promise.
2013, 636. Right. We needed that little 30 cc's.
It's okay.
Yeah. It's done it 8 times.
Good night, Piper.
Yeah. Well, did Piper sign off? Sure. Yeah. That's one of the. I think you're going to be okay. I think you're going to be okay.
At the end of the day, I was talking to Ryan Foltz, and he was like, "Dude, it's a track bike." He goes, "They're going to unless it's fucking leaking fluid, they're not going to kick you off the track." So that's what I was worried. I don't want to get there and just have them kick me off because it was.
No,
smoking,
you'll be fine.
You'll
be fine. Just put RZ350 stickers on the side.
Yeah.
You'll be cool. You'll be
One past the shop the other day, I was shocked to say, I actually pulled you aside. I was like, holy crap, that's an RZ.
And that was the funniest thing because, that's the muscle memory, right? I heard that.
Yeah. It's back in my ears. I'm like, there is no way there's a 2-star. Oh my God, it's an RZ350.
And then I turned my head and I was like, and I looked over and there was somebody riding an unimpressive sport bike. And I was like, the skinny back tire. And I was like, that's a fucking RZ. Look at that.
Like that was honestly the cherriest RZ I've seen in ages too. It's that red and white.
I promise you that is one of those. And now, thanks to iconic motorbikes, there's a lot of that shit popping up.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing. I looked at their listings the other day and like, oh, you know what? You're never going to see an RZ 500.
Yeah.
I think I threw them up there right
now.
Yeah, I was about to say, ever since you mentioned that, I started going back and looking.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of 2-strokes. They have 250s, 125s. Fucking, if you're racing, your kid wants to race, they have all the fucking vintage 125s and shit.
Yes, they do. And be careful, though, because they're worldwide. Because I was looking at a motorcycle the other day I was quite interested in. I realized that bike was from South Africa. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I can't do anything with a South African motorcycle. I mean, I import shit from Japan. It freaks me out. I don't know if I can import anything from South Africa. Yeah, that could be weird. I may have to call a Musk.
I was talking to Harris earlier. He's like, I can't wait till I can buy a Lada. I'm like, you can buy a Lada tomorrow.
Yeah, that's not hard.
That's not hard at all.
It's like, what?
Yeah.
That's a fairly interesting thing to be able to see motorcycles that we were like, yeah, man, you're never going to see another one of those.
Yeah, like you'd only see that one dude at Mid-Ohio that brought like 25 unobtainable bikes and they'd be $45,000.
That was...
Yeah.
Yeah, and then these
you
ones...
bought your Motocampo from them, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah, I bought my Motocampo. That was another bike. I bought that bike for $1,250, and immediately the price went up to $6,000.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That was bizarre.
Yeah.
That was just weird. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to ride it now because they suck, and because if I break it, it's going to be extremely hard to get parts to fix it. And or there's value to it.
I mean, you actually did pull me off your DeBlasi one time because, well, that sucked, but I was having fun.
But you were also shit hammer drunk.
That's true.
Right. And they're not easy to ride.
They're not easy to fix.
But you know what was really cool about those guys bringing all those bikes to Mid-Ohio and stuff? It was the ultimate call out of all these fucking guys that kept saying, if that bike was in the United States, I'd buy it. And you're like, well, there it is,
there it is, right there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, let me tell me about the elusive TDM 250 or TDM 350.
Or the 80. Or remember like the tiny little fucking, it was like the adventure bike, the TDM 80. Yeah. They had that fucking thing there.
Again. Yeah. You're like, oh, yeah. If I ever see one of those, I'm buying it.
Yeah, there it is.
What color do you want? He's got a purple one. Yeah.
See, you actually lived up to it, though. You went through and tested them all, and you brought home a Motocampo.
Yeah?
Yeah, and riding it from the point of purchase to our booth was probably the second most terrifying ride of my life. They're awful. That's just an awful bike.
It's literally an ironing board with handlebars.
You could stand on it with one foot and ride it like a stand-up scooter, and it would be far more appropriate. It would be your brain. It would make sense to your brain.
Yeah.
But sitting on it, it is the same way as sitting on one of those stand-up scooters. It doesn't work the way you want it to work. Everything's wrong. You want to be standing on it.
Yeah.
And I tried it. I put the seat down and stand on it. It's actually pretty drivable.
It literally lives as it holds up the TV at work.
It at the shop right now, its job is it's holding up license plate brackets right now. Right now, I have a Moto Compo license plate bracket holder, right? And if people watch the videos all the time, they'll see the videos and they'll be like, "Oh my God, you got a Moto Compo in the background of your shot," and I'm like, "That's things we do for you."
Well, somebody commented on the video I did in his shop. They were like, "The dude's got a Moto Combo and he hangs license plates on it."
Yeah.
True statement.
Yes.
That's hilarious.
You should see what I do with the Lamborghini.
I was gonna say what people don't realize
It's
is
a clothes rack.
And coming from my end of things, and I'm digging through the shop like I'm freaking Indiana Jones. I'm like, holy crap! I haven't seen one of these in 30 years. What the hell?
Wait
And he's
until he
got a
opens up
box.
the room in the back and finds the black shadow.
Oh yeah.
He's gonna get so upset. Who puts knobbies on a black shadow?
What the hell?
I don't know.
No, I'd figure, if you had a black shadow.
We have a
I'd figure
Vespa
it would be-
GS in our bathroom.
Yeah, that's the funniest part. And let's see, there's 3 Super Sports, 3 SS180s.
Yeah,
I think you're up to
3 or 4
now,
in the shop
3 or
now.
4.
Oh no, there's another one in the hallway.
There's
4.
one in the hallway.
Yeah,
and I was like, I'm like, oh, cool.
That's
There's like
Yeah.
3 Rally 180 frames up in the rafters, and I'm like,
I have 100% too many BMWs right now.
oh, absolutely.
If anybody needs a BMW R100 RT,
And it is the cherriest R100 RT I think I've seen in a while.
That bike needs to go away.
It does.
Somebody needs 2 carburetors.
At least they're out there in the open where you can get to them.
Yeah.
Bro.
You'll be so happy there's easy access when you need to get to those carburetors daily.
I tried to count how many fucking bikes are in your shop right now. It's a lot.
No. You can't do it.
When you
because-
get done with the shop, we're going to go to the
I mean,
warehouse.
we were talking about quantum earlier. Bikes appear and disappear at random, and they're just there.
Yeah,
They just appear.
It is.
Like, oh wow, I didn't know that was there.
Oh, it is Schrodinger's shop.
Yeah,
like
I mean, somebody commented. We were talking about videos. Somebody commented a while ago on the Harley Cafe Racer, and I couldn't remember who the maker was. And I was like, wait a minute, we do have a Harley Cafe Racer just hidden in the freaking corner.
Rika Kid, I mentioned that the other day. I was like, hey, I thought it was Luke's bike, that one he built, because it's like blue and stuff. And I'm like, oh, that's a Rika kit. Oh, interesting.
It's like just random shit just hiding in the corner.
It's a sexy looking bike, but I don't know how far you could ride it without like getting a little crampy.
You don't ride that motorcycle.
No.
You appear on it.
Yeah.
And then disappear later. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing that matters with that motorcycle. People see you showing up. They talk. You get off the bike. You go into wherever it is. You let that marinate. Let them soak on it. Let them take pictures and all that other shit. And then late, you Irish goodbye.
Yeah.
Irish goodbye in it.
I loved an XLCR until I rode one.
Well, I love that thing. I was looking at it. I'm like, oh, I want this thing. And then you look in the master cylinder. So your right foot peg is like 13 feet out to the right because the master cylinder's there. But it is such a sexy looking bike, though,
It had
man.
to be built around Harley Davidson.
Yeah.
Like everything to make it a cafe racer had to first get past the Harley Davidson parts. And if you'll notice the swing arm on it has never met a Harley.
No.
The entire swing arm is one of a kind because the Harley swing arm, when you try to build a cafe racer and use the Sportster frame, the Harley swing arm is your worst enemy because it is not where it needs to be.
Right.
It puts the back tire exactly where you don't want it to be. And you need to move everything back a little bit. You need to give yourself a little more room. Harley didn't want that. They wanted a cruiser bike. They wanted that Sportster to look like an old Super Glide. So they wanted to have that tucked in so there was no air in the space between like the motor and the back of the back tire. They didn't want any air back there. Cafe racers are the opposite.
Right.
Everything has to be like, sculpture and trellisy and look like, negative space for cafe racer.
Yeah, take off all that stuff so it runs worse.
So speaking to this, we spent the past 2 days looking for suspension buffers for a cozy sidecar.
which is technically term is rubber bands.
And it wasn't
They're
until
just really big rubber bands.
it wasn't until I remembered that we had another sidecar that I went, oh, now I know where they were.
One of the 5 sidecars in our shop.
5 sidecars.
What's Renee's famous line was with that cafe racer. Renee goes, "Hey, what's the odometer say on that cafe racer?" And I was like, "Come and look."
3.
And she's like, "Oh, it's got a little tiny adorable excuse of a speedometer from Drag Specialties.
Yeah.
This thing is like." It's pocket watch sized. And it's not electric. It's not fancy. It's a mechanical speedometer. It's pocket watch size. And you have to turn the power on, right, of the motorcycle to see how many miles it's traveled, right? Because it looks cool. But the point being, if I have to rely on this device to tell me how fast I'm going, I'm not enjoying the experience. It's
probably shaking so much you can't read.
There is no way on God's green earth that anybody's going to be able to focus on something that is 2 inches in diameter on a rigid mounted Harley Davidson Sportster 1200. That is going to be a blur any day of the week. That's just going to be it.
So if you're out there and you want the world's most uncomfortable Harley Davidson Cafe Racer, have we got the bike for you?
Yeah, that's it. I'll sell it to you. I got a price on it and everything. Right. It's not even that high. It's somebody else's learning project waiting to happen. You know, you too can be the next person to be in pain riding this motorcycle. But again, you'll look cool when you show up at the bar.
I was going to say the maximum use for that bike, if there was a photographer studio out there that needed the best bike to ever have models drape themselves all over.
Every piece of media where they're like, okay, we're going to set this shot up and we're going to use, because, it has to be a cafe racer. So we're going to put this in the shot. And it's some awful fucking bike that should have never been a cafe racer.
CX500.
CX500. Exactly,
just hacksawed, not even done well.
Just trash. Yeah. Or it's even worse. It's some Chinese 125, and you're like, oh, and the guy's like a burly dude. No, this is the posing bike. This is the one. This is the bike that you're like, people are going to be like, ooh, that's not Photoshop. That's an actual 3-dimensional thing.
Yeah.
And it is an actual 3-dimensional thing.
What years do they make it?
They made Sportster 1200s forever, but the Rika kit only existed, I think, in 2002 to like 2005.
The CR? The XLCR?
No, not the XLCR. This is not an XLCR. This is what they call a Rika. So this is a Rika build. Rika made their money taking the Suzuki Savage 650 or the Suzuki Savage 600. Single cylinder bike, cruiser, one of the
LS 650, I think is what
LS 650, right? The Savage. And they took that cruiser bike and made a kit to make that cruiser bike into a single cylinder thumper cafe racer. And that was a pretty noble event. Like, to be able to rescue those, there's no shortage of those. The museum has one. You can cut up all the rest. So
if you walk past a dumpster, you'll probably find one.
Well, yeah, they're just not a great bike for anything.
It's kind of like the guy that made the Ferrari kit for the Fiero.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And so he rescued these LS Savages, right? So that's a great thing. Super cool. And then, since they had the wherewithal to do it, they started going, well, what if we did this to other bikes? So what if we built a kit for this? What if we built a kit for that? And then eventually, once they had the money from selling a lot of those Savage kits, they were like, ooh, we have money now, and we have more design capacity. We have more manufacturing capacity. Look at it. It's RYCA.
We have ambition.
There's websites. And we have customers. And they built a kit that you could take any Harley Davidson's, an 883 or a 1200 Sportster, and as long as it didn't have the 21-inch front wheel, the C model, you could make a cafe racer out of it. It's a really brilliant kit. And then they would sell you pieces of the kit for your level of commitment to the project. And so you could either buy, a couple of pieces, or you could buy all of it. And this particular bike has all of it. It's the whole thing, soup to nuts. And it is beautiful to look at.
No, it looks really, really, really great. If you've never ridden a Harley 1200 in your life, you would go, that's a really amazing motorcycle.
It is a really amazing motorcycle, Tom.
And then you ride it and you're like, oh.
No, it is a really amazing motorcycle because it gives you goddamn near 100 foot-pounds of torque out of a machine that weighs 428 pounds.
Wow.
So if you got better numbers than that,
no, that's not the point. It's
right.
Just shake yourself to death.
And it's a 5-speed gearbox, which is also nice. It is still, there's a lot of heavy parts moving really fast.
Well, and here's the thing. We're speaking as dudes that are over 50 whose knees don't work and we can only ride sport bikes for 10 minutes. If you're a 22-year-old kid that wears tight jeans and you're, whatever, this bike is fucking, you could ride that
the difference
to Florida and back.
Between the 90, what was it, the Sportster?
I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like,
where does that come from, since? Jesus.
Just a fantasy. I don't know.
You got Chris's attention, though.
We just had a 2002... We had a 2002 Sportster 1200. that is actually what this bike, started life as. So we just sold that bike, and anybody who's been to the shop will know like that 1200 Sportster we had looked like it left the showroom. It was exactly factory right. Unfortunately, we took off the ridiculous handlebars that Harley Davidson had put on it, put some tasteful little super bike bars on it, and it was a really cool bike, and it was really fun to ride. Unfortunately, your feet it wasn't forward mounted. It was just Sportster mounted, right? And it wasn't where the pegs wanted to be. You wanted the pegs to be out in the backyard somewhere. So it wasn't a good riding position to ride it, but it was great, and it did great things, and it sounded great, and it's a fun bike to ride. I found the right guy to buy it. That bike, that 2002 and this 2001 are the same bike. The same machine. It's the same exact bike. But you put them next to each other, and they are completely different. Wow. On a molecular level, they're different.
They're exactly the same, only different.
Same.
You know what? On a quantum level.
They're unidentical twins.
On a quantum level. There's nothing wrong with that motor. That 1200 Sportster motor is a honey of a motor. It is an absolutely sweetheart of a motor.
If you're looking to drive an agricultural pump, this is the motor for you.
Well, unfortunately, when you're going to take that and you're going to make it into a cafe racer, which means you're going to remove all the rubber mounting, you're going to remove all the things that make it civilized.
They went to different schools together.
Yes. And the 1200 Sportster that we had, when you'd grab the handlebars and you'd go to push the bike across the showroom, you'd realize that the handlebars had about an inch of flex in them because everything's rubber mounted. Right? Whoa. And if you've ever moved a Sportster or a Harley around the showroom before and you grab the thing and go to move it, grab my Road Glide or my Road King. Grab the Road King and try to move it across the shop. The handlebars move a disturbing amount, and I just put new bushings in them.
I was going to say that 71 you had, that thing moved like 2 feet.
Oh,
like
yeah.
That was a 73.
73,
but that's because everything on there was loose.
And that was an
From
XL
the factory.
CH. That was the high output version of the Sportster. And that 73 XL CH, it was a wiggle from the tip of the front tire to the tip of the back wheel. Yeah. There was just a series of oscillations that were constantly fighting each other. Mm-hmm. When I took that bike in on trade,
it was like riding a 40-foot ladder.
It was an extension ladder. It was like riding an extension ladder because it made the noise of an extension ladder. It gave you absolutely no confidence. And you knew at any minute you're going to cash in your chips.
There was like of all the bikes that I've ever been approached with, that was one of the few bikes that I went, I am never riding that fucking thing.
When that bike showed up, I got so dedicated. I was in the shop till about 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, going through the bike front to back, loosening everything, Loctiting it and tightening it because the bike was so everywhere. Wow. And it didn't have a ton of miles on it. It was a low mileage bike. It was very original. And I was convinced that somebody had taken the thing apart and put it back together and had deleted the hardware. Like there was a bag of parts that should be on it somewhere, and all those parts were important, but they're not there right now.
There's a whole lot of spring washers missing from this bike.
Yeah, and I was like, there's a lot of bronze bushings and brass bushings and things that aren't where they're supposed to be. So I got the book out and I went through the entire thing, and I put it back together, and I was like, fuck, it's all here now.
Yeah,
it should be fine. Eventually, when I got enough amperage into a battery, meaning all of it, into an agricultural tractor battery, it started. And you could get 4 or 5 starts out of it. You had to catch the carb because, again, this is a straight tickler carb. You want to know how to start it? You got to flood it first. It's got an accelerator pump on it. Just give it the gas until the gas goes on the floor. When the gas goes on the floor, that's when you press the button. Oh, by the way, did I tell you it also doesn't have a Kickstarter?
Oh, no.
Yeah, because in 73, they said with a high compression motor, they didn't want to have a Kickstarter on there anymore. That would be dangerous. So they took the Kickstarter off with an abundance of confidence. Harley Davidson put a 12-volt battery in there and took the fucking Kickstarter off.
And this is literally, because I've seen a couple of these in my life, and this is literally the first one I've ever seen that did not have a broken case.
Right. Yeah.
Like it wasn't cracked.
Yeah, it wasn't cracked.
Every other one I've ever seen has been cracked in half.
It was shocking, but on the 3rd or 4th try, when everything, the planets would align, and it would cough more than 4 times in a row, and you could catch it and just get it to catch, it made terrifying noises.
Oh, yeah.
And it did sound like you just thrown your entire toolkit down the stairs. The noise it made was outrageous. And then you got to put it in gear with your wrong foot.
Yeah.
which is another dumb thing.
Well, it's that 73 crossover.
It's a crossover, and it's like we weren't sure where we were going to put these controls yet, so let's just try them this way this year and try them that way next year. I got that thing out on the road, and I rode it around, and finally got it up into fourth gear. Down into fourth gear.
Down into fourth gear.
I got it down into fourth gear because it's an upside-down gearbox. And when I got that thing into fourth gear, and I got about 50, 55 miles an hour, the vagary coming out of that 21-inch front wheel and that speed line, like that Avon Speedmaster speedline tire on the front, I was just like, I'm going to die on this stupid motorcycle. And I'm wearing like DOT shorts.
Yeah.
You know,
the DOT flip-flops.
I'm wearing an OSHA t-shirt. Like, I got it back to the shop. I turned the fuel tap off and waited till it mercifully put itself out of business.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm never doing that again. I'm never doing that again.
This is going to sound horrible.
Awful.
But this is why every time we go to Skidmark, and it's one of the events, and the kids that are trying to relive the 70s dirt bike culture, or dirt bag culture, that have the Santee choppers and bullshit with the big high back and the big long stretched out.
Tom's like, they're having fun.
I'm like, they're having fun. But you're picking the worst motorcycle you could pick.
The year that we did it in the rain, they all rode.
Yeah.
They were sharing a bandana.
Like,
right? They did.
I'm like, do you realize because they've got the little bar. What are they called? There's the little tiny bars that come in real close.
They're Z bars, but they're super tight.
Yeah. Just like the tail gun.
And I'm like, you're just exactly. I'm like, do you realize how uncomfortable you made your life?
You see the one guy's got one bar?
Right. Exactly.
He has ein bar. He has a handle bar, not handlebars, a handle bar.
So how do you counter?
He has one grip. You don't.
You don't.
Grab the tiller, Marty.
Switch hands.
Right.
Like, why would you consciously make this decision?
It's a tiller.
They look cool.
Again.
Don't get me wrong.
Why do women wear high heels, dude? It's the same thing. That's what choppers are, high heels for dudes.
That's fair.
Right?
That is
completely impractical.
That's a fair statement.
Sexy to certain people.
Right.
I was going to say, they both give Steve a boner.
Yeah, exactly. These days, anything does at this point.
The chopper culture is an amazing culture. We talked about it before. You're a curator. If you're a chopper enthusiast, you are a curator of a style that once existed, and you're a person that's meant to maintain that and curate that, keep that dream alive, and you're looking for the stuff that's period correct, and you're going to curate that. You're going to keep it alive. You're going to get your iron head. You're going to get your...
Everybody's got a geek.
That's your thing. It is just your thing, and that's what your job is.
And you know what? As a culture that goes around or something like that, for every like one dickbag chopper guy, there's like 10 nice ones. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's a pretty cool.
They're
culture.
doing the Lord's work, I guess. Right? I get it. That's fine. The ones that to me are the offense were the what do they call those? The street, the pro street bikes, the Jesse James and Orange County Chopper, Sucker Punch Sally.
Those guys are buying them. They don't count. Like the guys that you see at
I wasn't about to give them a compliment.
Skidmark and all that, like down there, they
let's not be mistaken.
Shit, so
I wasn't about to say how great they were.
I've worked on big dogs. I know the process.
I was about to say the whole idea of those. One, you couldn't lose money faster.
Oh yeah,
right.
That's true.
Nothing depreciated faster than any of those pro street bikes.
Hey, an SNS 112 with billet wheels, man, let's go.
And as we had some of them coming into the shop, the people at Sucker Punch Sally said, we want to make you our service center for Cleveland. We had one of them. It came in, we looked at it, we pronounced it to be like, oh, if you put more than 18 pounds of air in the back tire due to an interference problem, it will not roll. So if you put 20 PSI in the back tire, the tire stops turning.
Yeah, it's too big.
Because it's too big. And we were like, that's not good engineering. No.
But people had no idea how fast. So this is pretty interesting. I'll just real quick.
Yeah.
So when I had Rider for Life and I worked at the recording studio and he let us put Rider for Life at the studio, right? So we had all the stuff and he saw all the bikes coming in and out and all the sport bikes and stuff. And so he wanted to get motorcycles.
Yeah.
But he's a super rich guy that never rode anything before. So he said, I'm going to buy choppers. And this was 2001.
Yeah.
So we literally had a shirt that said I never needed a TV show to tell me what was cool because everybody was all about these fucking choppers, right?
Yeah.
So he was $80 million wealthy dude. We went to Marshall Goldman, who was like a seller of like, Porsches and shit like that. And so that's where he'd go to buy all his fucking Ferraris and Porsches and stuff he had. So he went there and he bought two Bourget choppers, a low blow and a Python.
Yeah.
The low blow was $59,000, and the Python, which was a 13-foot long fucking rigid chopper with a 300 series rear tire, was like $70-some thousand fucking dollars. They had over $100,000 in these fucking things, right? We bring him back, and he puts him in the showroom down in the recording studio, and for like almost 6 months, they're just talking points, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So finally, he's like, I want to ride these, but I got to break them in. So he tasks me with breaking these fucking things in. So the low blow, not going to lie, that was actually a pretty decent bike. Just like Tom said, 113-inch S&S motor, nice suspension. It was actually like you were sitting in a chair, like a beach cruiser kind of thing. So it was kind of comfortable. Overall, not a bad bike. The quality, it was okay, whatever.
The Pitbull and the Mastiff would have been the comparable big dogs. They're kind of real low,
Yeah, just like a low blow, So it was almost a practical bike. I think it had a 220 rear tire, so it wasn't even like
the
ridiculous.
VMAX of the Harley world, pretty much.
But the fucking Python, that thing was like, it was like driving a boat. Mm-hmm. And then I hit a highway thing, expansion joint.
Yeah.
And I was 3.5 feet in the air above the motorcycle, hovering, holding onto the handlebars, right? Like, fuck this thing, right? So I get back. He's like, what'd you think? I'm like, yeah, it's all you, dude. Like, you can have this thing. So anyways, 5 or 6 years goes by, and now he's done. Well, he'd been done with them. They've been sitting in the thing for 3 years. So he got $6,900 for the low blow and $8,700 for the fucking Python. So he lost $120,000 in 6 years.
My buddy in California buys
long-term capital losses.
He buys them just to extricate the motors from them.
Oh, I'm sure.
So he buys the bikes.
That's actually the cheapest way to buy that motor, which is real.
Yeah.
From these Tom Hardy fuckknuckles that have them and now need money for their wife's 4th implant. So he offers them dirt.
Yeah.
But dirt in the form of cash. And just to pluck the motors out.
Well, and think about this. Most of the dudes that could afford them in 2000 were 70.
Yeah.
So
they're not here anymore.
The wives that were like the trophy wives that are now 60 are like, get this fucking thing out of the garage. And that's why that dude can pick them up for fucking $4,000.
One of the ones that came into the shop, when it showed up, James was all excited about working on it. He was so excited about working on it. He's sitting on it, and it's like, it looks like Lucky Charms. It's like purple and green and weird. And I go out there, and he's sitting on it, and every time James would move on the bike a little bit, the geometry of the front end would change. And I was like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, what is really happening here? And it had this ornate, rather small disc brake on the front of it, right? And, chrome's not known. Like, bright, shiny chrome's not really known for getting the job done when it comes to stopping real fast, right?
I always wondered about it.
Yeah. So I said, James, do me a favor, would you, hon? Would you just grab that front brake and would you just slide that motorcycle forward about 1 inch? And the wheelbase in the motorcycle changed about 3 inches. Ooh. Okay? Because there wasn't anything left in the form of a bushing, bearing, or tolerance. And the guy had 2,000 miles on the bike. Oh, yeah. The bike's about 4 or 5 years old. And I explained to the guy why that meant it couldn't come into our store.
Right.
Because it was too dangerous. And I said, also, there are so many pointy things on this bike. They're all in the shin to kneecap area that I'm going to probably have to burn it down. I'm probably going to have to take this thing out and just ritual sacrifice it the 4th time I bleed my ankle on it.
Dude, you know what else is funny about those? When me, Dan, and Harley Bob went to Ohio Bike Week a couple years ago, all the dudes were there, right? And then a lot of the guys had their choppers with the big fucking sissy bars. Yeah. And I don't know if this is intentional or not, but their terrible jeans with the bedazzled shit, a lot of their pockets matched the sissy bars. Like, it would have the same fucking, like, crotchy looking thing.
So it has, like, a cross and extra points.
Yeah, and then they send jeans on the same thing.
They're bedazzling matched.
They had no idea.
No.
They're like, their affliction shirt matches their sissy bar perfectly.
And also the pants.
And the pants have the spider webs on them. Yeah. They match their... that's so funny. I mean, just... Look, inspiration, art, it takes all forms, right? The whole thing. But just like we talked earlier about Sammy Hagar, Van Halen, Why Can't This Be Love? There are things you can't make me like, and those motorcycles are one of them.
Yeah.
And to this day, I will people are like, oh, I have a motorcycle. I'm like, that doesn't count.
Yeah.
That is $60,000 ass jewelry. That's all that is. That, and if you ride that That's your thing. That's fine.
I since we were talking about 60-year-olds that own this, I knew a big dog guy that had literally the Captain America livery in a canine shopper.
Yeah.
And he put miles on. Like, he didn't fuck around. He put miles on, but he was also 60 and like not kind of a fuck around guy.
Anybody that rides anything, I'll
But
respect.
the rest of them were all like, yeah, I put like 1,000 miles going to the bike night so I could show off my chrome. Like, if you're riding it, ride it.
They sell Bugatti Veyrons.
Yeah.
Not for me.
And assholes buy them every day.
Not the kind of thing I even care
Actually,
about.
I think they
Won't look
discontinued
twice
the
at it.
Veyron, didn't they?
Doesn't matter. Once again, why the fuck would I know?
I know.
Right. I
True.
don't know. I don't know what the penalty is for fucking a 5-year-old.
No.
You know why? Not even on my radar. Not something I need to know.
I mean, if I had,
Zero chance of that happening.
if I had Veyron money, I'd buy land.
Not something I need to even consider as a consequence. Right? The concept of owning a Veyron? No. That's like, what do I weigh on the moon? Totally irrelevant. Doesn't mean anything to me. Data I don't need to have.
Hey, Phil.
Yeah.
What's a Vincent Black Shadow cost? I
Right
mean, when
now?
I find it in the back room.
Exactly. And how long would it take Phil to realize something was missing from his shop?
Oh, Jesus.
The answer is quite a while.
Yeah, oh, yeah. I could probably take one of the SS180s on you to be like, didn't I have a fourth one?
I don't know. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff in there. Like you said, we don't name the chickens.
Yeah,
they come and they go.
We just work on the trust system.
You know what? The average plumber doesn't remember the last fucking sink he worked on. He doesn't remember the first sink he worked on this year. He doesn't remember the last sink he worked on.
You trusted me to demo a wall in your basement and do electrical work. So
I don't ask.
Yeah.
You live here. This is not in my concern radar.
Yeah.
This is not something
well, burn it down. It's insured.
This is not something I'm required to worry about. This is easy. I have other things to worry about, like how I'm getting to the Skidmark thing.
Yeah,
like how I'm getting to Gala.
That's true.
Right?
We don't have the 12-passenger van.
We don't have a 12-passenger van anymore, so we can't carpool. We have to get there on our own.
You're gonna have to pull.
Whoops.
I have a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
When is the gentleman's ride?
The DGR, May 28th, right?
May 18th.
May 18th.
Okay.
The reason he knows. Did you hear that? The reason he knows. Because what's happening the Saturday before the DGR?
The 10th anniversary community gathering at Skidmark Garage.
I'm good.
Yeah, celebrating 10 years of existence, and it will be. And then the next morning, the DGR leaves from the same spot, so it's going to be
It's
like
a sleepover.
48. Yes, yes.
A lock-in. We'll do a lock-in.
I was like, man, if the weather's good, I'm sleeping there. If the weather's good, I'm sleeping in the parking
All the
lot.
chopper guys could do the thing where they
I just got rid of my RV.
and just lay back on the seat.
Oh, right.
And then all their girlfriends can take pictures of their
No, they
boyfriends.
could do that
fucking-
chopper thing where they bring like the piece of canvas.
Oh, yeah,
and they
next
make
to
their
it.
bike into a tent.
So we do
that's
what's
sexy.
that? What's the Norman Reedus movie we went to go see with Tom Hardy where they were like
Bike riders?
Bike riders. We could do
Bike
that. We could do a big
bike riders.
ride-in theater.
Hey, speaking of bike riders,
Yeah.
I was out of town when you guys went to see that. Right?
Did you watch it afterward?
I caught it on an airplane one day.
Oh, you did? Oh, good.
And I'm calling it Goodfellas on motorcycles.
Oh,
it was the exact
that's
same
fair.
trajectory. It was
That's
like
fair.
these people that had like some bad habits, but they were likable. And then there was this like character arc of like backstabbing, and it was just like Goodfellas. It was just a different.
What
setting.
did you think of the homoerotic subplot?
Well, I couldn't jack off because I was on the airplane.
Did you not? You can ask him for a blanket.
Yeah, come on. What are you new?
I want to know.
Were you in the middle seat?
It was a little weird.
I want to know how many times they played gay chicken in casting. To find somebody that could play who could play gay chicken with Ed Hardy enough times to be like, yeah, okay, that's it. He's the guy. He's the guy right there.
The problem is I literally could see Norman Reedus just going, "Yeah, let's go for it."
That's okay. That just happens.
Yeah.
All right. That's lowbrow at 2:00 in the morning. If you've ever been to that party,
Right.
Right. But they managed to have the tension in the room. You could cut it with a knife. And again, when you watch the movie, if the homoerotic love affair between these two gentlemen that are willing to neglect their families,
blonde haired guys now. He's just whatever background scenery.
You're right. So, but if you can get through the other parts of the plot, because you're always kind of what's in the back of my brain the whole time was like, are they going to let these guys hook up? Is this film advanced enough that they're going to let these dudes hook up? Because I think they're setting it up. I think they're going to let these guys hook up. And it's going to be his final thing about like, he loves the club more than he loves his wife. How much? Well, let me tell you. Mm-hmm. And I was just kind of like, I thought it might happen like in one of their parties or
picture at San Francisco, 1953.
Well, let's just picture it Chicago, 1959 or whatever it was. And they're at those parties. What was happening at those parties was they were all neglecting their wives. They were all neglecting their families. They were all hanging out with their friends. And their friends had taken the position of their wives and their families and everything else to the point where they were neglecting their wives and their families and everything else. I was kind of wondering if they were going to go there in that movie.
I think the metaphorical part of it was when the one guy left the biker gang to become a Chicago motorcycle cop.
Yes.
So that was like the unthinkable in the motorcycle gang world.
Yeah.
And so that was maybe stood in for these guys. Looking up like you were hoping for, I guess.
Oh my God. Yeah. I was like, which way are they going to go? Which way are they going to go?
They went for the authority part.
I can say, though, I was rather smitten with the lady that played the wife.
Mm-hmm.
She was
fantastic.
They totally had to set up for the Tom of Finland right there.
One more time?
Tom of Finland. Leather dudes and hats and never mind. Okay. Sean got it. He's in the chat.
All right. Well, that's fair. So 10th anniversary Skidmark Garage. Be there, be square.
Anyway, rolling back around. We're all beginning to sleep in the parking lot.
And if you survive, you end up at the DGR.
Pete's going to be fighting a raccoon for croissant.
And it could also be the world's most hungover DGR.
And I think there's going to be people from all...
I do too.
Over.
Absolutely.
I think it's going to be Detroit, Columbus, Pittsburgh, Buffalo.
Yep. I think we're going to have a ton of people.
It's going to be gigantic.
I think it is going to be extraordinarily well attended. Yeah. So if you have a sleeper sofa,
bring it down.
If your pullout game is strong, right? You may want to consider housing somebody, because there's going to be a lot of people. There's going to be a lot of people.
Well, now we've got to account for a food truck that does breakfast.
There's going to be 3 food trucks and an ice cream truck. There's going to be bands.
Nice.
There's going to be not even going to list the other stuff.
It's going to be insane.
Yeah.
It's going to be just great. Yeah, I'm extremely excited about it.
So book your Airbnb. It's on the 3rd floor.
Yeah. Totally.
Right?
Get your Airbnb.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, get your stuff sorted out now. That's a really, really good idea.
It is going to be killer.
Does Cleveland still have a hostel, or did that close?
Closed.
Damn. This was a perfect opportunity for it.
It was too hostile.
Next to your old place.
What's that? Yeah. Yeah, that would have been a good spot. That would have been a real good spot.
The stadium might be empty by then.
That's true.
Oh, there you go. That's a damn fine idea. That is a really, really good idea.
Everybody's moving to
Park. If we made the right arrangements, you could probably get a FEMA camp set up somewhere around there. That would be not a bad idea.
We do have all the tents.
Yeah, urban camping.
Wait.
I always loved that idea. I wanted to have an urban camp.
Urban camping. Absolutely.
Dave Nolan, Quality Control Services.
Dave Nolan, Quality Control Services. Absolutely. Yes. We got to call in the power of that man right there. Put him on this. Yeah. We need sleeping for about an extra 75 to 155 people. That's a good idea. I'm sure Dave's the kind of guy who can handle that.
I slept at Dave's garage more than once. Come back from a road trip late at night. I'm like, I'm not driving home.
No. The idea of urban camping, though, if the weather's nice, it could go either way.
Yeah.
But the idea of doing some urban camping is super fun.
The moped gang did it.
The moped gang.
Oh, yeah.
Right by the velodrome.
Oh, they did?
In Slavic Village like 3 years ago.
Really?
They came in from all over, and like 50 of them camped in a field in Slavic Village.
Right on.
After riding mopeds till like 4 a.m.
Right. Perfect. I have no problem with
fire
that.
in the middle of it, the whole thing, and it went without a hitch.
Yeah, you got the numbers at that
Moped
point.
kids are just feral children. I mean, that's just the way it works.
They're amazing.
We did that 15 years ago when we went up to the one in Michigan, to the Detroit velodrome that's back in the hood. And when I showed up, there's grass growing up through this concrete thing. It's kind of and it's in a neighborhood where things happen. And they're like, "Oh, we're camping here." And I went, wait. they're going to fight over who gets to kill us. The biggest thing to hit this neighborhood is going to be the people fighting over who gets to steal our shit. And I'm sitting there, and because it was, mopeds, I had brought out a Puch Magnum Mark II. I brought out a Malaguti, some cool shit that was tuned and quick. And we're just going around in concrete circle with grass and tires burning and all that kind of crap. And I was like, this might be a really, really bad idea. And some of my friends who live in Detroit came out and partied and had a great time. And they're like, no, this is going to be fine. This is going to be completely, nobody's going to have a problem with this. The cops aren't going to get called. Nothing's going to be a problem. About 5:30 in the morning, the bonfire got pretty big. And one of my friends goes, I think we pushed the limit. I think we may be too visible. I think we may be too visible right now. And yeah, fire department police showed up. Yeah, and there was like, so there is a limit. Detroit does have a limit. You can hit the excessive button in Detroit with a moped party. Now, the fact that they're in Newburgh Heights there.
They're close, yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised they got away with that.
Yeah, it was more like
there's some active enforcement in Newburgh Heights.
Broadway and 49th area.
Yeah, by the Shiny Velodrome.
You got to ride that concrete.
The park up in Michigan. Yeah, absolutely. It was being run by the Michigan the Scooter Mafia, those guys. They were running it for a while, and they were doing a great job with it. They cleaned it up quite a bit.
They're the guys that came and cleaned it all up because there were trees growing through the expansion joints.
Absolutely.
And the center of it was filled up like a cesspool.
It was a disaster.
They pumped it out, cleared the drains, cut all the trees down.
Yeah. The second time I went, they had lighting rigs out there, like gasoline-powered generator lighting rigs set up. It was cool.
And it no longer exists, right?
No, I think it's gone. I think it's long gone. Yeah. There's a fancy velodrome.
At least 10 years ago that I was there.
Yeah.
Chrysler had built that. Chrysler Corporation had built that for bicycle racing. And the last bicycle race was there in 1968. So it had been sat derelict. Or no, I take that back. I think they built it in 68. The last actual race there was in the 80s. And then it's been derelict ever since. Wow. And it just kind of was reclaimed by the elements.
So of course somebody had fun with it for a little while and made it work, and then of course the city had to come in and destroy it.
Well, it's just one of those things that was dead for a very, very, very long time, and it did eventually come back. And if you look it up, what you want to look up Detroit Thunderdome Velodrome. That's the pictures you want to see because they're pretty special. I'll go ahead. I'll pull it up just so anybody can see it at home just for fun. Sleepy, I don't know if you want to throw that up. Yeah, there you go. So that's what it looked like on its very best day. It's fun. It's legit. It's great. I've gone over that side. I got a little too spicy and ended up having to chase my bike down the hill on the other side of that. Super fun, super cool, and it's a good experience. Mini bikes out there and stuff, and scooters, mopeds. It's pretty rad. I'll pull up another one just because there's just a better shot. It kind of gives you a better experience of what it's all about. There you go. Bring your camp chairs. That's the setup, and yeah, you're in a neighborhood. You're surrounded.
It used to be a neighborhood.
It's a war zone now. Yeah, right.
One of those neighborhoods where there's one house standing on a block.
Wow.
Maybe one that's been stripped of all the siding, and then there's a foundation where you can see the house burned down, but the foundation's still there.
Yeah, it was fun. It was super cool. And I enjoyed it. I got a big, huge kick out of it. Thought it was super fun. That's one of those experiences. Enjoy them, live them. When somebody invites you to do something like that, you go do it. Yeah. Because what's replaced it has the word Lexus on it.
Yeah.
And it ain't the same thing. The Lexus Velodrome, I went to a party a couple of years ago, and they said, hey, we're going to the Detroit Velodrome. And my heart got full. I was like, Merritt, we're going to go do something really cool. We're going to go see a part of Detroit history you can't imagine. We're going to go see something awesome. And they took us to this fucking inflatable Lexus thing that they race bicycles in. It's super swanky and fancy.
You assholes and your bicycles and your Lexus.
Oh, they just took all the fun right out of it. If this is one of the nights under the After Dark, 2012 was the year that I went down there. So that's the last time that I remember. Here you go. It's under the lights. So,
whoa,
yeah,
wow, cool.
Three wide under the lights. Doesn't get much better than that. Super fun. Really a great opportunity. So next time somebody invites you to go do something cool, especially if it's in Detroit,
go. You know what you could really do there drive fast and take.
You could ride fast and take chances. Play us out of here, Johnny.
Bum 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 bum.